So this is me talking. Give it a test in your mic.
Test, 1, 2.
Word.
We're good?
You don't have to lean in there.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to get comfortable. But yeah, we're all good. So might as well and get started. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Lifelong Learners. Almost fucked up the name. That's only the third show. I got my man Versace Gray in the house. Versace, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling fantastic.
Me and Versace go way back. We're buds from high school. Every memory I have of him is just absolutely ecstatic. He's a very positive guy. He has an amazing story that he's here to share with us today. And without further ado, Versace, welcome to the podcast.
I'm beyond excited to be here right now. I've been looking forward to this day for quite some time, I will say.
Wonderful. Yeah, he's been a big fan of the show. And so I wanted to start off and just give some people background on yourself. I know we were friends in high school, and then I went off to college, and you didn't go to college, did you? Or you did one semester?
I took an extended gap year after I graduated.
Okay.
I did a semester at Blinn. 6 weeks into it, I called my dad and was like, I'm sorry for wasting your money, but this is not me. So, I've done a lot of different things, but I kind of was able to identify that traditional college experience just wasn't for me. Mm-hmm. One, because I don't know if you've been to College Station, but it's a hard place to focus if you're so.
My dad went to A&M. He loves it out there.
Yeah, no, it's
and everybody I know that went to A&M loves it.
It's a cool place, I will say. I didn't necessarily enjoy it, but as soon as I got out of high school, I became a level 3 installer. So just doing corporate move-ins for, big companies. I did BP and Halliburton. Mm-hmm. I worked at a country club. It's just a service guy, bag room guy. To this day was the most enjoyable job of my entire life.
Oh my God, dude, it sounds amazing. You got to have one story of some big tip or some outlandish drunkard.
I actually do. So a funny story about Riverbend is Clyde Drexler, Rockets legend, Houston legend.
What up, H-Town, baby? Let's go.
NBA legend.
Yeah.
He would golf there on Tuesdays when he was off from doing the Rockets broadcast when he was doing it. Mm-hmm. With Calvin Sampson. Was that the guy who he did it with? I forget, but they would come. And
okay.
He's such a nice guy, but he would tip just so generously for nothing. He didn't even want you to take his clubs to his car.
Wow.
Give you $20, $30. Evan Gaddis came.
Gaddis, let's go. Shout out
Gaddis?
to the Astros.
Dude.
Legend. From janitor to World Series champ. That's the dream out there.
Gaddis showed up, and he played 9. I think it was 9. He might have played a full round. He tipped us $100. And it was in the middle of December in the offseason. It's 20 degrees outside. Nobody's there. He shows up. It's what's the guest fee? Comes back from his round, gives us $100. Just me and another guy there, so we got to split it 50-50.
So you're not even the caddy there. You're just
no.
tending to the clubs when
exactly.
he pulls up and that sort of thing, cleaning.
Right. And but he was just a super kind dude. I don't know if you know his backstory, but he was a industrial janitor, so he would clean up, facilities and plants and chemical places and stuff like that, and he was trying to make it to the minors, but he just could never do it. Finally got a break with his Astros, ended up winning a World Series, and just a super humble, kind human being, man. Wow. Really nice guy.
Those are the stories we love to hear, and I'm personally a Gaddis fan because of his story, but also I felt like he was the spark plug that was the difference. You got that guy coming up there, no gloves, just gripping and ripping it, just smashing homers left and right, and when you need him to play behind the dish, he's got you. That's the all-tool player. So that's amazing. You got to meet Gaddis. You get any signed autograph, or is that kind of taboo?
No, I feel like it's disrespectful to ask somebody who's famous for an autograph or a picture, unless maybe not disrespectful, but I'd never want to do something like that.
Yeah.
When I met what's his name, Pernell McPhee. I'm a big Ravens fan. He's a Ravens legend.
Oh, my God. You are a big Ravens fan. I see you on Instagram all the time, shit-talking the Steelers.
Yeah. I'm actually about to get a sleeve on my bicep commemorating the 2 Super Bowl wins, so I think I'm going to do it on my birthday. But I met him in New Orleans when I was at the Super Bowl, and he I've said it in the past 5 minutes, he was such a kind guy, right? Such a nice dude. Pernell McPhee, came up to me, and he knew that, I was a big Ravens fan. He could see it. I had a hat on, mask on, jersey on. He was having dinner with Anthony Dixon, who at the time was a running back with the 49ers, and they had gone to college together. and they were sitting right next to us at a place called Dean's. It's a seafood restaurant in downtown New Orleans. It's really, really nice. Great food. Really, really nice place. But he was also incredibly kind.
That's awesome. You get to meet all these amazing celebrities. So why didn't you just stay in the country club business, man? Sounds like it was a nice gig.
It was a nice gig.
But you upgraded.
I did upgrade.
Yeah.
I've upgraded quite significantly.
So where'd you go from the country club?
Into car sales.
Car sales.
Car sales.
Wow, greasy car salesman, right?
Greasy
None
car
of that.
sales.
None of that. Grayson's all class, though.
Yeah, no, I actually I got fired from that job because the turnover rate in the car sales industry is incredibly high.
Yeah.
You have to be somebody who really enjoys ripping people off to succeed as a car salesman.
Damn, because you know what the price is and what you can like sell it to them for.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are actual federal laws. It's not state laws. There are federal laws about MSRP pricing with vehicles. So with like Kelley Blue Book and, all these different third-party websites that value used and new cars and what you should be paying, it's really hard to sell a car for above MSRP. A new car
What does
specifically.
MSRP stand for?
Manufacturer suggested retail price.
So what does that mean to us laymen's?
Essentially, if Honda makes a car,
Yeah.
right? That's what they value the car at to be sold, depending on how much they spent to make that unit. So it's essentially what the manufacturer lists the price of anything. I mean, you've got MSRPs for TVs, computers, things like that.
Now, that isn't something that the sellers are beholden to, but it's just like, hey, when it comes out, they're probably going to sell it at MSRP.
And it's like any other product. You have necessities and you have commodities. A car is a commodity. It's never a necessity because, especially now with things like Uber and the Lyft and things like that, you can go without owning a car and get around locally, fairly easily.
Yeah, not in Houston, though. We hate public transportation.
Uber, lower your prices.
Please,
it's ridiculous.
Please.
Please, no, but MSRP depends on a lot of things, like supply and demand. The more popular models for certain companies, so like that's why F-150s, are so expensive, is because at any given dealership, because you have to understand, the only thing the dealership is a retailer. That's all they are. They buy the vehicles, and they're obviously sponsored and licensed by these car companies. But they're retailers. They're glorified retailers, and a lot of people don't grasp that.
And they don't have any pricing power, like control over it. They're kind of beholden to whatever the customer is willing to pay.
Right.
They're trying to move as many units as they can.
Exactly. But the problem with that as a salesperson is that your sales managers and your sales team, they're not going to like the fact that you sold 30 cars that month for sticker price. And
do you get paid if you sell them for sticker price? Because I'm sure it's a mostly commission.
In the car sales, yeah, it is. It is. Depending on where you're at, like a BMW dealership or a Mercedes dealership, you'll get a higher percentage of the sale, but they call it in front. And what that means is how much money you sell that car for above the posted price on the MSRP, right? So let's say a car goes for, $30,000 and you sell it for $34,500. You're going to make 25% of that $4,500, which is $1,100, $1,050, whatever. I'm not a human calculator, but roughly around that, right?
Do quick math in front of everybody.
Siri, what?
Yeah, dude, I got Alexa hooked up as well.
But it became very apparent to me after working there. I worked there for almost a year, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was a fun job, and getting to interact with so many different types of human beings from so many different cultures, especially being a Honda dealership, was really, really fun. It really was. But ripping people off and scamming people is something I don't enjoy. And like I said when you first asked me this question, you can flourish as a car salesman, but you have to be a scumbag, right? And maybe that's harsh. Maybe not a scumbag, but definitely sly. Because
you got to be willing to sell someone a good for more than you can sell it for.
Exactly.
And that's kind of tough because I dislike sales in my mind for the same reason. I feel that it's like a win or loss situation. Whereas what I want it to be is like both parties win. Like, look, this is the price. I can't manipulate it at all. If we're talking volume, maybe there's some leeway there. But the idea is both parties win at the end. Whereas with car salesmen, it seems like it's a game and you're trying to get as much as you can out of it. and that's not like a really fun game. It seems that you want to play.
I couldn't agree with you more. In the sad part about the like Webster's definition of a negotiation is, like you said, when both parties walk away equally happy. And in car sales, that doesn't happen, and that's why car salesmen have such a bad rep. I've met dozens of really, really good human beings in the car industry. At the end of the day, there is a market for cars. And like I said, with Kelley Blue Book and what I think it's called True Car, I haven't paid attention to really any of it for a long time, but there's just a lot of BS surrounding car sales, and nobody wakes up in the morning and goes, man, I wish I was at a car dealership right now haggling with some scumbag trying to buy a car, you know?
Oh my God.
So it is what it is at the end of the day, but I definitely learned a lot, and it was one thing I will tell you is that you went to SMU, right?
Yeah, pony up.
Pony up, baby.
Hopefully we make the final,
Tournament?
March Madness. Yeah,
They'll be in my bracket for sure.
Dude, apparently we're like the first 4 out. I was watching basketball for the first time in a year. I don't know. I think the brackets are shit, but I know we'll do well. So SMU, yeah.
So it's how many guys were you in a fraternity?
A business fraternity.
Business fraternity.
Yeah. So even the girls were still brothers.
Not sisters.
No sisters. All brothers. It was a brotherly affair.
Okay. How many guys do you know that got into sales?
Sales.
At least a few, right?
Yeah, not many. Most of them were like corporate sales, or they'd do like gas trading, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. But it wasn't a high amount. A lot of investment bankers.
Right.
Consultants. Those are the main ones.
How many of those guys that are in whatever form of sales right now have told you in their life or in your time with them, I'm a natural born salesman. This is what I was born to do. Have you ever heard that term?
Yeah, I have.
It doesn't exist. It's a psychological game, and you have to tune yourself, regardless of what you're selling, right? You have to tune yourself into what you're selling, and if you don't do that, you're not going to succeed.
Isn't it kind of like gambling in that way? I mean, when you're like, you know what you have, and you're trying to front that you have more. You know, kind of like with the salesman, I know what it's worth and what I can sell it for, but I'm trying to front like, no, I actually can't go lower than this price. Kind of like gambling in that way.
No, it's definitely like gambling, 100%. You're also gambling a potential contract that would make your company or the organization that you represent a lot of money, right? So that's the hard part about sales is essentially breaching the gap of building. People say rapport, and I hate that word. You have to build a relationship. Right. And that's particularly in car sales, that's where really good salespeople make their money, is selling cars to the friends and family of people that they sold a car to. And you have to treat them well. Right. I mean, I've bought 2 cars in my lifetime. I'm 24 years old. Right. And both salespeople that I dealt with sucked. Right. Like they were awful. I will tell you one thing. Anybody who listens to this, if you want to successfully purchase a car for the price that you want it at, go into a dealership, get a salesperson, look at them in the face and say, I have a $10,000 down payment. If you're trying to finance, if you're a big baller and you pay full price, cash, whatever it is, say I have a $10,000 down payment and I want to buy this car today for this price. And you will get that car for that price. Because the sales manager doesn't, his salary and how much money he makes that month does not depend on what the car sells for. They get paid off of units, right?
So the sales manager wants volume. The sales people, they want to get nice commissions. They want it to be fat.
100%.
So back to the beginning of the story, how'd you get fired? Because I had the feeling that you'd get fired because you sold so many cars at like good prices.
Literally trying to scam people.
Oh, wait, the people you're selling to?
Yeah, I couldn't sell a car because I wanted to be the guy who sold. So if you sell a car for $8,000 over MSRP, it's called an 8-pounder. 7,000 over MSRP, 7-pounder.
That's big.
So on, right?
I pulled the mic away a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. Or you can like sit up, whatever works best for you.
The way that works is slimy at best, right? Because unfortunately, if there was a demographic of people who get ripped off in car dealerships, it's old people.
Damn.
It really sucks. It really sucks. It's like, look at your grandma in the face. Be like, I'm going to rip you off. You don't want to rip your grandma off.
No.
Who wants to rip grandma off?
Never.
Never.
Yeah. If she asks if I'm hungry, even if I'm full, I still say, Grandma, for your food, I can have a little bit more. You want Grandma to smile. But you're telling me that there's people out there that are scamming grandmas for a check.
There are people out there who don't love their own grandmas.
Damn. I didn't know this podcast was going to take that turn.
It's a hard fact.
Yo, speaking of this topic, South Park does great social... No, listen, they do great social commentary. And there's this episode where they are absolutely bashing QVC because the grandfather's like, oh, I want to get my grandson something nice, and spends a bunch of money on this like necklace from QVC. And then the kid pawns it, and then the QVC buys all the pawn stuff, melts it down, and sells some new shit, and the grandparents buy it. So the idea of elderly people, young people being scammed, like the people that can get preyed on, I mean, that's a tale as old as time, which is very unfortunate. And it's sad that in any industry there would be, winners and losers, or like more to gain. I like when it's like one price, that's what you're getting. Like you go to the grocery store, you're not going to haggle over a price of meat. They'll tell you like, get the fuck out there. Trust me, it happened to me last week at Whole Foods. It was so embarrassing. I was like, $30 for a filet? Are you kidding me?
30, and that's it's kind of funny that you brought that up, because in some cultures and countries you can go do that. Mm-hmm. You go to the meat market.
I like it that way.
No, dude, you're telling me I wish I could go into H-E-B and be like, $30 for this?
Like, yeah, spit on it. Or throw it on the ground and be like, well, now it's damaged, so 25.
Exactly. And it really Jacob's family, he has family in Iran, and that's how it is. And he'll tell you, man, it's like in Iran, you go to the meat market, you go to this and that, whatever you're at, it's like people, like, dude, they haggle.
Really?
They're like
it's like the life of Brian out here. Like, if you're not haggling, hey, he's no haggling.
Exactly. It's like you walk up to the bread market. They're like, they have a package deal. 6 loaves for $7. They look at each other like, we're gonna fuck this guy up.
Say, 6 for $7.
Yes.
They look really white. I think we can do this one.
Exactly. But it's haggling in. I want to get on to the next topic too, but in car sales, like haggling works to a certain point because every dealership in America gives the salesperson the right to end negotiations. So, what would happen a lot of time, especially around the holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, right? You would get families who come in there, and the majority of the time, they're either trying to buy a new family car or they're trying to buy a car for somebody who just turned 16 and got their license. And what would happen is they would have this outrageous price, right? And I tell my dad the same thing. I would have been the best car salesperson in the history of selling cars if I could sell every single car for 50% of what it's worth. Because we had people would come in there, they'd be looking at a new Honda Pilot, elite package, $40,000 car. Get to negotiations, they love the car. They've got their whole family there. All right, God. We want it for $23,000.
What's your reaction? Do you try to keep like a stone cold face?
You have to. You can't be disrespectful because they can get that Honda Pilot, maybe not for $23,000, but they can find another white Honda Pilot anywhere in Houston.
Would you ever be real with them if they had such an outlandish price and you're like, I can't go lower than this? Like, are you ever like honest like that, or is it not like worth it for the dealership? Like, you would never sell anything that's at MSRP because you won't make any money, right?
They would frequently take losses on cars that they knew were not popular. So one Honda car that was really, really unpopular.
Yeah, spread it out. Look.
Hey, shout out to Danny Duncan, but the Honda Fit does not sell.
The Honda Fit. I've seen some of those little boxy like eco cars.
Danny Duncan loves the Honda Fits.
Really?
Man.
Who's Danny Duncan?
You don't know who Danny Duncan is?
No, I've never heard of him.
We're gonna watch some Danny Duncan after this is done.
Oh, I'm excited.
He's like one of those. He used to be more of a prankster, like YouTuber guy, kind of like I hate saying their name, but Nelk.
Yeah. You don't like Nelk? Yo, we got to get into that later. They just interviewed the president.
Ex-president.
I think they're always called Mr. President or Miss President. If
are
that's
they?
The case. I think so.
No, you know what? You're right. You are right.
They're always like Mr. They're not okay. They're not the president because the president's Joseph, but they are Mr. President.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay, so I gotta ask before we wrap this up. Tesla, I think they sell like you can't negotiate with Tesla, which is really nice. I like the idea. It's kind of like Apple. Like when Apple uses a retailer like Best Buy, it's like this is the price you're selling it at. Like it's a commodity. You're not like selling it under. Every now and then they have like small promotions, but that's like a very small difference. like, how do you get a good deal with cars? I mean, how can I avoid negotiating? Because I don't want to go, if I want to buy something, I want to buy it. I don't want to fucking negotiate. If I did, like, I just don't want to,
Have a cash down payment.
Cash down payment.
Walk into a dealership with a sizable down payment. They'll work with you every time.
I wonder if there could be a profession of negotiators. You hire someone to negotiate for your car. That'd be awesome.
That'd be a cool job.
Like, imagine.
Like, you don't have to deal with any of the haggling.
Yeah, like a
You pay
consultant,
someone-
and they sell so many cars, they know what it can be for.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, they like, oh shit, well, they're gonna get corrupted by the dealerships. But wow, car salesman. I'm glad you stopped doing that, because that seems like a scummy job to have.
It is.
But
100%.
Do you have any funny stories you want to share before we go on?
From car sales?
Yeah, or is it all sad stories?
No, I have. Dude, people used to get hot, man.
Oh my,
in the
yeah.
dealership.
Okay, last story, and we'll go on. What's the hottest someone ever got about a used car?
It was between two salespeople.
Oh damn, they were fighting over someone.
Yeah.
They saw like an elderly woman,
was
just got the Social Security check. She's like, I'm ready to blow a bag.
I'm ready to blow a bag.
Yeah,
No.
let me get that Cadillac, baby.
Let me get the Type R that's sitting in the back. That's like the nicest car that Honda sells. No, but these two salesmen, they got like super mad over a deal, and they almost went at it. It was like my fourth day too. So
Oh my.
This guy named Ed, he was walking me around, like, I was basically shadowing him and seeing how he did things. And this guy in used car had taken one of his customers and sold him a used car, just ripped his head off, right? Just completely ripped this dude off. They went at it, man. I mean, they were that close to starting throwing fists, man.
Oh my God. Fourth day in, and then you're like, I don't want to fight my coworkers. Maybe it wouldn't be the best job.
I'm gonna go to Toyota dealership, maybe.
Oh my God. Go to across the street. Well, that's crazy. Thanks for sharing your stories about
absolutely.
Used car sales. So what'd you do after used car sales?
Man, I had several odd jobs. I worked for a roofing company, just had like a general office job.
Roofing in Houston?
Yeah.
Please tell me you didn't work in the summer.
No, I worked in the office. Like,
Okay.
like
thank
office
God.
manager.
I've heard
essentially.
horror
No,
stories
no,
of
no,
people doing roofs in the middle of summer.
I'm a blue collar boy, right? Like I work with my hands.
And he's built for it too. This man can move a fridge. Show them guns.
But no, it's roofing is one of those things. It's a very lucrative, very lucrative industry.
Why do you think it's so lucrative?
Roofs are always getting damaged. Roofs get more frequently damaged than pretty much every other thing than cars that people buy at a high volume. Appliances, televisions, electronics. Roofs get messed up, man.
Yeah, my TV does not get messed up.
And they're expensive. I mean, you can buy a TV from Best Buy right now. You have it for the next 15 years. It'll be nice.
Yeah.
You
My
can
mom
watch.
still has her TV. We bought a plasma TV back in like 2010. She had me hang it in her house the other day. I'm like, Mom, go to Best Buy with like $100 and you'll get a TV that's 10 times better. And she got this hunk of junk. I mean, old school plasma. It's like 4 inches thick. The little thing, it was like 40 inches. Like, it looked real tiny, but it was heavy. And like, we barely got it up, and we mounted it in a room. And now she's like, yeah, the picture quality isn't great. I'm like, Mom, I told you. But roofs get damaged. I mean, do you think you could use a better material than like shingles?
Absolutely. Nowadays, people are doing stucco. They're doing metal.
Stucco roofs?
Yeah.
I remember
Depending on the climate, yes.
My
in
old
Houston,
house-
you can do it. In the north, you cannot. It'll crack. It gets too cold.
Okay, my old house, my childhood home, had stucco walls, and I remember it being like a big ordeal to like put stucco everywhere. Like, it seemed like it was tough. Is it really durable? Is that the saver there?
You could talk to Nick Denenberg about stucco because he's in architecture right now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wildly
he does
smart,
design?
wildly smart human being as well.
Is it like cool design?
Cool design.
Okay,
man.
nice.
He's got a cool job.
I didn't know he was artistic.
No, dude, Denenberg is one of the smartest people I've ever met in my entire life.
Wow.
And
You wouldn't know it if you met the kid. No. I'm just playing, Nick. You listen to this, all jokes.
He is kind of shy, right? I've known him. He's been my best friend for 10, 15 years. I'm actually right now, I can't share too much, but I'm planning a birthday bash for Denenberg
surprise
this year.
for Denny?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
for Denny.
awesome.
But no, he's in architecture right now, and Grant Hegner, one of my closest friends, is also in construction. He does like developmental planning for communities and stuff like that. And they'll tell you there's a lot of maintenance that has to be done to stucco homes because it's so reliant on what type of climate you live in. That's why Have you ever been to Las Vegas?
Yeah, I went to Vegas one time.
Have you ever been to Arizona?
No, never. So dry out there, right?
Yeah, that's why stucco works out there, because it absorbs humidity and moisture, and that's when it starts to crack. So Houston, it's very humid, but most of the year we don't have a lot of rain. Historically, over the past couple of years, we've had a lot of rain. But historically, I mean, like if you could drive through Bel Air and West U right now, you'll see 10-15% of the homes out there are stucco.
Yeah,
homes.
there's a lot of stucco.
Yeah, it's a lot of stucco.
So what else would you? So stucco roofs, and those are like more durable. I guess they get damaged a lot. So yeah, there's a lot of money to be made there. Yeah. So you worked in an office, working with blue collar workers. Didn't fit the bill, or
No, I actually. This is a hilarious story. I actually got fired. We had a salesperson in Louisiana, and in Louisiana, because of all the parishes and smaller communities in Louisiana, there will be like 5 addresses that are addresses.
We'll fact check later.
We'll fact check this later. How to actually say that?
Ad-dry.
Ad-dry.
I like that better.
Ad-dry C's.
Yeah.
But they'll have like 5 addresses that are the same.
The same building.
Right? And I sent this guy like 4 hours away from where he was supposed to go.
Oh, yeah. God.
And the contract that ended up getting sold to one of our main competitors was like $50,000 profit. And they were like, get the fuck out of here. They were just like, asked me a week later. And it was a good job. But
wait, so you sent a guy to the wrong location, right. And because of that, you were not able to book that $50,000 profit?
Yeah, it was a huge job. It was like a 7,000 square foot home in the middle, like ranch home in the middle of Louisiana.
And so because you're like 4 hours in the other direction, the customer
he couldn't show up on time. The guy needed it fixed.
Oh, he needed
the whole roof had collapsed.
Damn. Yeah, $50,000 will get you axed in a minute.
Oh no, I mean, depending on where you're at, but for a company of that size, yeah, $50,000 is.
Hey man, we all make mistakes, and now you're a stronger person for it.
No, and that's funny that you bring that up, is because I feel like in today's society, it's like people are so afraid to mess up. That they never reach their full potential. And I feel like that's like a blessing in disguise for me, is because I've messed up so much.
So now you're free.
I'm free, man. Yeah. And I love my job. I love my job. I love where I'm at. I love the people that I work with. Just this last week, our head tech, he looks at me, he's like, man, you've been doing really good these last couple of weeks. And it like I told you before we started, it's like reassurance is so important. If you ever want to own a company and you want it to be successful, any type of business, regardless of where you're at, reassurance is massive for employees. If you have a partnership with another owner, anything like that, you have to let people know how they're doing, right? Or they're not going to want to be there.
You got to be honest, no egos. You're doing a good job. You need to work on this.
I mean, look at how the MLB or the NFL operates. If you're not doing a good job, they sit down with that player and they tell him, they're like, hey, your contract is in jeopardy right now because we've got a guy in AAA who we think could do the job better than you. And we'd pay that guy pennies of what we're paying you.
They run very efficient businesses, but also because it's so quantitative, You can easily look at it. Now, baseball's a little bit different because it is a game of failure. And you might bring someone up who's like amazing, like Alex Bregman. I think it took him like maybe 20 games to get his first hit. I'll have to check that. But
no, I know exactly what you're talking about. But look at Breggy now, man. I mean, he's just unfortunately I hate to say this about the Stros. I do. I think the Astros have the worst problem team-wise that you could have as an MLB franchise.
What problems do we have? We've been in the World Series twice.
No. That's exactly what I'm saying. Because when people look at the World Series and getting to a championship, maybe because I'm a Ravens fan, we've been to 2 Super Bowls, we've won both of them, right? So
maybe talking about that we've lost.
I'm looking at it because when you play the best of the best, it's like your team, you got to go out there and you got to be hitting full stride. And look at what happened against the Nationals. We had the pitching, but we didn't have the hitting.
Bro, that Nationals, that still hurts me because we won it, and then we switched the pitchers. I mean, hindsight 2020, but in the moment, I did not like taking out Greinke, man. He was really good.
I didn't like taking out Greinke either, and I think,
For those who don't know, real quick history, Astros won the World Series in 2017. We beat the Dodgers. It was our first championship ever. It became tainted after the MLB released a story that we were using cameras to cheat. There were a lot of other teams that were named as, also cheaters as well. So it's kind of a tainted championship. But then in 2019, we get to the World Series again, play the Nationals, lose in the 7th game, which is the final game in the series. And we were winning for most of the game. We replaced a pitcher very late, and the next pitcher gives up like a few runs, and it was kind of all after that. And then last year we went to the World Series and lost as well, which was tough. The Braves. Congratulations to the Braves.
Yeah, no, I was my brother Hayden said the exact same thing. He was like, if there was any franchise to lose to, it would be the Atlanta Braves because they have a massive fan base. I don't know if you know this, but the Braves have an old ballpark in downtown Atlanta that still stands, and then they have their new ballpark. It's a very, very historic franchise, and they did very, very well in the 90s. My cousin-in-law, Ben, shout out Ben, I love you. Great dude, one of the best people I've ever met, and he's a diehard Braves fan. Grew up in Atlanta. He lived in Cleveland a little bit as well in his childhood, but he grew up in Atlanta. He's a diehard Braves fan. And it sucks watching your team lose. And the only sports franchise that I'm like a diehard fan of are the Houston Rockets and the Baltimore Ravens because I refuse to cheer for the Houston Texans. If the ownership changed, me and Vincent DeSimone have had hour-long conversations.
Yo, Vinny
Shout out to
D's.
Vinny, man.
Bro, I texted him the other day, man. I love Vinny.
Vinny is in his bag right now, bro.
Really?
I love, dude.
He's doing school, right?
He's doing law school, man.
Damn.
Big time.
Every time I drive to my yoga studio, I always see the DeSimone law thing.
I
And I send him pictures of this. His last name is DeSimone. Yeah. I don't know if there's any affiliation there.
No, it is. His dad's a lawyer too.
Oh, that's his dad.
And his dad is a great human, dude.
Damn, his dad is.
His dad used to coach our Little League teams back in the day, Baylor Little League.
The Italian parents, they care about God. They care about family. They're like Don John. Well, Vinny is kind of like Don John.
Dude,
if y'all seen the movie Don, I think it's called Don John. I care about my bed, my girl, my car.
Yeah.
They're just great people. Vinny, we go way back. We used to lift all the time.
I've known him since kindergarten.
That's crazy.
I went to every single grade of school, K through 12 with Vincent. Every kindergarten through 12th grade. Dude, isn't that wild to think about, though? It's like you've known somebody for that long. Like, when I think about Donnie, it's like, dude, I've known Donnie since pre-K, and I went to school every single year with that kid, all the way until we graduated, and then went to a year of college with him. It's wild, man.
That is crazy.
It is.
But, bro, we're going to be looking back at it when we're, 60 or so, and we're like, I knew that guy for 40 years. Like, we're going to have a lot of people in our lives that stay forever.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's what I love about my friend group is like I trust every single person in my friend group, my 7 or 8 closest friends, with my life. Like there's not a person in my friend group like that. Like I would take a bullet to the face for every single person in my friend group. Wow. 100%, no doubt.
And that doesn't come from just sharing time together. That comes from hard moments, broken trust, rebuilt trust, trials, tribulations.
Right.
That's what makes, strong friendships, strong employees, just relationships in general. It's not always just going to be, roses and fairies. There's going to be tough times, and those tough times is what really brings people together even more so, because when the shit gets real, they've got your back because it's happened before.
100%.
Just like to your point about failure, it's important to fail, to know that where your limits are, and to know that after you fail, you can still get back up. You're no longer scared of failure. And the same thing with friends. You're not scared of trusting your friends or doing, big things with them, because when things do go sideways, they always got your back.
Exactly. And I think the important thing about failure is, especially with people who are, I don't want to sound ignorant here, but I feel like a lot of people who are born in extreme wealth, right? It doesn't matter how much they fail compared to somebody like me. It's like I've messed up a lot in my life. I've done me. I've done several stupid things. I've done, and looking back on my life at a glance, it's like I'm very, very proud of myself of where I'm at right now, but I also want to make sure that I continue to grow. And I think falling on my face several times has taught me that. I think being able to look back and say, you know what? You can never do that again, and here's why. X, and X. Here's why, right? There's no reason why you should act like that or treat somebody like that or say that, and it's taught me a lot. Failure has taught me so much. I mean, it's such a learning lesson, and I feel like a lot of people, they get discouraged when they fail.
They curl up into a ball. They think, when you fail that you're not right for the job or that you did something wrong. Whereas failure is part of the game. I mean, think about. I always like to relate life lessons back to childhood because children are constantly learning, constantly growing. Because you start out, you don't know anything. There's only one way to learn, and it's by doing things and failing. And nowadays, I see so many people, myself included, scared to fail and scared to try things out because of how failure makes you feel. But when you get used to it, it becomes almost liberating to know that you can fail. And that's like the best way to learn. I think you learn more from failure than you do from success.
I think I would agree with that. I think when you succeed in something that you've really wanted, right? Your entire life. Like, I was not one of those people. Like, I'm sure you have friends, you have people in your life since they were 10 years old. This is what I want to do. I didn't know when I was a senior in high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Music has always been such a huge part of my life just because of the type of family that I was raised in.
Do you still have your SoundCloud up?
I do.
Okay, I'm going to link this below. Versace's one of the hottest freestylers. I got to get him warmed up again because he hasn't freestyled in a little bit. But next time he's on the show, he's going to freestyle for y'all. He's got some of the most fire bars I've ever heard. He's the man.
I would say when I'm in my bag, when it comes to freestyling, I'm one of the better ones out there.
Definitely. He's the type of freestyler that I look up to and try to like mimic myself. When I'm in the hot tub late nights trying to spit bars, I'm like, what would Versace say? Because he's got the natural rhyme schemes. He's got the natural swagger. And he's speaking the truth. To your point, it's about failure. It's about speaking what you know.
It's about being real. And that's what I've realized, and that's what I dislike so much about our generation is like people, it's like I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I don't, because I know what matters to me. It's like I want to treat people around me well. I want to be kind. I want to be a respectable young man. It's like, dude, I've messed up so hard in my life in those areas alone. Like, I mean,
dude, cheers to knowing yourself.
Right, exactly.
And knowing that nobody's opinions of you outside of that matter for shit. Because you know who you are, you know what's important.
And I don't feel like I've ever changed. It's like I feel like my attitude towards things and like, one of the shout out to Me Fitness, Sean and Zach Pafford. I'm sorry, but I gotta say this.
No, get it. No,
one of the greatest things about my life right now is being surrounded by these two guys. I mean, Sean and Zach Pafford are if I could be half of the person or the people or the man or whatever you want to say that the Paffords are, I know I'm doing a good job. Because those guys are so positive, they're so motivated, and they're dedicated. They have great jobs, and they have meef. It's like that's their thing, and they found their thing. And you can see in their content and everything that they post and everybody who they reach out to, like, they're so happy with what they're doing. And I feel like if everybody could have their meef, right, the world would be such a better place. And I feel like a lot of people are scared to branch out into something new or something positive. And because of that, they would rather be negative, right?
It's easy to tear someone down. It's hard to build someone up or to put yourself out there. Especially 100%. When it's so easy for everybody to tear you down.
It is. And that's the ironic thing about that is like when you start to put yourself out there, people are going to shit on you.
It's dangerous.
It's dangerous, man. You start...
Imagine being like a nude model going to like an art studio. Like you're naked. People are seeing the true you, especially when you're passionate about something. That's you. That's raw. That's no fake Instagram filler. I'm putting a mask on.
Facetune. Dude, I'm telling you.
I don't know about Facetune.
Facetune is the reason that catfishing exists. Damn. It's a paid it's a paid monthly subscription.
Oh, you got to pay monthly to fuck up your face?
Software. You can, dude, I could get it right now. I could literally Facetune myself
I want one of those apps that makes me look like Giga Chad. You know, with the massive jawline. That's crazy that people would use that to look different. But I like what you're saying about being yourself. It's raw, you're vulnerable. But when you know who you are, you know what you're passionate about and what you need to bring to the world, it doesn't matter what negativity people bring to you. There's only positive comments where people are building you up, and there's only constructive comments where people say, hey man, you should do this. And you can either take it and say, hey, that's a great idea, I agree with it, or you can say, man, I appreciate your comments, but like, no, I'm gonna do it this way, because you know truly down deep who you are and what you have to give to the world. And I could not echo you even stronger. The Meef twins are, you know, they're so positive, they light up the room.
They make the world such a better place, dude. They saw my mom at El Tiempo like a month ago.
Oh my god.
Right?
Yeah.
And Zach texted me in our group
Mama
chat that I have with Sean.
Yeah.
And he goes, dude, your mom is one of the best people I've ever met in my entire life, bro. Her cooking is so good.
Oh.
And I almost started crying. I was like, dude, like I want to be like them, you know, not necessarily in the physical aspect, because like I don't want to be a bodybuilder.
Find your passion.
Right, but they found their passion, and I respect it so much. I'm serious, man. They're just top quality human beings. I mean, like man, I want to cry right now, man. There's some good.
Let it out,
There's
man.
some good human beings.
Let it
dude.
out.
There's some good human beings.
It's beautiful to let emotion flow and to be
I agree.
happy about
I
things.
agree. I 100% agree. But Sean and Zach Pappert are top quality men, and their parents have done such a good job with all three of their sons, and they're awesome, man. And watching Meef go from 250 followers to 1,500 followers to wherever they're at 1,900 or just over 2,000 right now. It's like, dude, the fitness industry is saturated with so much bullshit, and we talk about that. Me, Sean, and Zach talk about that all the time. Like, they'll have this guy who's on enough gear to kill a full-grown elephant. Like, if you want to get big and swole, take this supplement. You know, go to the gym and you'll get ripped. And it's like, that's not how it works. It's like, yeah, eat this, right? Like, you know, it is what it is. And that's every industry, man. I mean, seriously, there's so many lies that get pumped into everything nowadays to make people buy a product. I mean,
lie
dude,
to the way to the top.
lie your way to the top. But I mean, look at TikTok ads. It's like makeup, right? It's like anything to make a woman feel more insecure. And I'm not saying that. I'm not like, dude, like, I get it. You know, like as a guy, if you're born ugly, right? Like you're screwed, right?
No, I mean, you can get money.
Well, you can.
Everybody likes
you
rich
can get your
dudes,
bag.
right?
No, you can get your bag. Everybody likes rich dudes. Shit. I'm not denying that. I think the point I'm trying to make is like, I saw an ad on TikTok go by the other day, and it was like this exfoliating cream that you're only supposed to put on your butt.
Only on your butt.
Only on your butt. It was like butt cream.
Are you telling me I have dead skin on my butt?
No. I'm just saying it's like there are people out there, like women out there, and I feel sorry. It's like,
They're going to buy a product just for the butt.
and it probably doesn't work.
Yeah, and like how many people that you meet like see your butt? Like such a small percentage. And if I'm seeing someone's butt, you know, chances are I'm not in a position to like nitpick about small things and say, you know what, I draw it at the extra butt skin.
Yeah, or you got a pimple on your butt. I can never speak to you again in my life.
There's a
like,
reason,
are you kidding? It's like,
yeah, there's a reason God put butts on our backside. It's so we can't see them. So don't be butt shaming anybody, except for fake butts. I will say this, a little controversial, maybe first controversial topic touched on in L-Cubed history. Fake butts, not a big fan. I'm a fan of natural women, natural men, you know, whatever God gave you, I'm a fan for it.
dude, if I got
and
on
body positive image. I love when people love their bodies.
if I got on Tren, I would look like prime Ray Lewis. But I refuse to do it because it's the same thing about like, you know, take a girl who's like incredibly fit, like has worked her entire life getting in the shape that she's in to be a supermodel, or, you know, I hate this term, but Instagram model. Because still to this day, I've never had somebody explain to me what that means. Because if I started,
I'll explain, or I'll at least try
no,
to.
please.
So there was a funny story. There was actually like a model party at my pool. So I live at a nice loft, and there's a lot of like older people, very successful, that you know live here. And one of the gentlemen had a party. He had some like modeling friends. They linked up, and so they're like 30 Instagram models down by my pool. And I call my friends. I'm like, yo, It's the day is here. We've been talking about this for years. The dream has come true. There's models at the pool. Let's go down. So we go down with a bottle, and they're beautiful Instagram models. You're taking pictures. They're promoting their gear. And how I could describe it is they're beautiful women who have built a brand around their beauty and around their products that they sell. Lingerie, swimwear. A lot of them do that. And they promote it by looking pretty, by being on your feed. You look at it, and girls say, wow, isn't that beautiful? How can I look like that? Oh, they have a skincare product, or Skims. Oh, Skims must be the answer. Or Kylie Cosmetics. And they sell their beauty as a product of what they're selling, which is their products. And so that's what they do. And look, it's incredibly successful. I still follow them to this day. They're doing really well. If I was that beautiful, maybe I'd try to say I will sell my better qualities, but if your quality's right on your skin, why not sell it,
No, I agree with that 100%. I guess the point I'm trying to get to is like Kylie Jenner, right? So if you look at a picture of Kylie Jenner when she was 18 years old and what she looks like now, it has nothing to do with physical fitness or treating your body better. It's plastic surgery, Botox, and being fake. Right? It's a complete. If I had a daughter, right, and she started looking up to these types of people and these human beings, and you know what? I'm not saying Kylie Jenner is a bad person. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm saying from a physical standpoint, I don't want anybody around me looking at those people and be like, that's what I want to look like.
So you'd be almost 100% against plastic surgery.
I am. I think it's gross. I really think it's gross.
Do you think it's like I'm pro cosmetic surgery for anything that makes people feel like better about themselves? Like generally, I want people to be body positive, and if they have one aspect of themselves that they really don't like, and they're able to change that with technology, like I'm for that if it makes you happier.
Right.
What I'm not in for is when that image, this fake image that's not attainable through natural standards, where you need to buy certain cosmetics, you need this surgery. If that's promoted as beauty, and if that controls people's mind and changes what they think beauty is, and people have to do that as a desire,
I think,
which is kind of what's happening. People saw Kim K and her butt, and they said, I need that. Now I see so many fake butts when I go to the Galleria. It's a lot of fake butts.
dude, I saw. Do you know who Layla Starr is? Old adult film actress.
I'm familiar.
Dude, yeah. Okay. I saw her at the Galleria like 4 years ago. Yeah,
Damn.
She was here. I saw her.
How gross did it look in person?
It is like
cottage cheese.
No, it looks stupid. And that's my point, is it becomes this competition. It's a subconscious competition, right? They're like, girls aren't out there going, I want to have a butt this big because I'm competing with this girl.
It's bigger, bigger.
Right.
Bigger.
They want it's an attention-based thing. Like, look at bodybuilding, like men's bodybuilding, right? You've got guys, like I said, you've got guys who are on enough gear to kill an elephant, right?
It's not healthy for them.
It's not healthy.
Their organs are protruding.
If you have to be on organ support medicine at the age of 25, you cannot argue with me that what you're doing is healthy.
It's not physically healthy.
It's not. There's nothing healthy about it.
I agree. I think they have these people have some form of body dysmorphia.
100%.
I would say it's better for them to deal with the root cause and to get over their problems rather than to fulfill their body dysmorphia by lifting these crazy weights or getting these surgeries, because it can be damaging to your body. I think what's positive for everybody is to look at themselves in the mirror and accept with what they have, make the best of it, live a happy, healthy life, and just generally care less about what other people think is popular.
Right.
And do you. I think that's what the best people
I think an important aspect of that, of what you just brought up, is if you're somebody who has bad genetics, right? Or I don't want to say bad, I don't want to be negative. I told you, I want to be as
different
positive
genetics.
as I can. Different genetics than what is mainstream, right? Because right now, having a big butt, being in shape as a woman is like very popular.
And mainstream changes all the time.
Exactly.
You've seen in like the medieval centuries, like it was very popular to be overweight.
Exactly.
Like, all
it
the
meant
women
you were
in pictures-
healthy and powerful.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And now it's like all these scant model, or it used to be scant models, like the Paris Hilton bodies, and now it's like the big butts, the fake
Nice
lips.
legs, exactly. And
Yeah.
it you know, I can't speak on that aspect because, like, as a man, like, I've got a nice frame. I've always had a nice athletic frame, and now I'm starting to realize it's like my dad played football at a collegiate level for 4 years, right? Tight end. 1 year at UT, and then 3 years at SFA. And I've started to realize, like, I look at pictures of my dad when he was my age, and my dad was a fridge of a human being, but like a lean fridge.
Yeah.
And ever since I got involved with MEEF, it's like your genetics, they're important, but your willingness and your drive to get in the physical shape that you want to be in, your genetics get thrown out of the picture. I mean, I'm serious. It's like you do if you want to get big and you're somebody who's like, oh, I can't get big, you know, I've been a stick my entire life. It's bullshit. That's what it is. It's a mindset, man. And you know, genetics do have a part to play in it. You know, like LeBron James' son was going to be an athletic freak regardless of who he had a baby with, right? You know, because he's just the outlier when it comes to athletic bodies, right? But at the same time, I don't think it's realistic to count yourself out just because of what you look like at that moment, dude. Because 9 months ago, I would have never thought in my life I would be benching 310 pounds, right? I would have never thought I'd be going to the gym at 2 a.m. after a 20-hour day, right? Because that's what I'm doing right now, because I'm hell-bent on getting in the best shape of my life. Because I've realized when you're in good shape and you take care of your health, you're more attractive, you have so much more energy, you have a glow, right? I don't want to sound like, I hate this word. I hate the words vibe and cringe because they're so overused. Like when somebody around me is like, bro, the vibe.
What about energy, bro?
I'm
not feeling your energy.
The energy is better, but vibe for some reason
You don't like vibe?
It throws me
Vibe is
off.
like the filler word for like
Anything.
Your subconscious, like you know, your subconscious feels something, but you're not sure how to say it consciously.
Like dudes will be at a party, like 6 guys, no girls. Like, bro, the vibe is ridiculous right now.
Last night was a memory.
It was a movie. I'm like, no, it wasn't. It's like, dude, you were sitting in the living room, you know, watching whatever you were watching. Like,
but you're saying when you work out, when you feel good, when you're pushing yourself and
Exactly.
breaking through those boundaries that you had yesterday, you thought you couldn't push past,
and
you feel better.
That kind of comes to the point that we were just talking about like Botox and plastic surgery and people who are on steroids. It's like, I feel like people never give themselves a chance with that. It's like they want to take the shortcut. And, you know, I don't know if you're on TikTok much, but there are like a lot of girls on TikTok right now, like in the fitness industry, who just like absolutely stunning, just like beautiful bodies. Like, and I respect them so much because you can literally go to a doctor $20,000, $30,000 later, look like a different human being, right? And you will get any amount of attention that you've ever desired in your life, right? I mean, seriously, like you said, look at Kim K. It's like, dude, she's got what, 30 million, 40 million Instagram followers. She's got all these different fitness brands. You know, it
pays to look a certain way,
right?
Unfortunately,
right?
And that's the way our algorithms and our capitalistic system, when it comes to social media, is. The more likes, the more money you get, and you know, the likes, you know, come from a certain type of image, which is sad. And when you do use technology, you know, the Botoxes, you're not breaking through or conquering any bad feelings you had about yourself. Like, let's say you have big legs. You know, if you're not toning your legs, like working out and striving the natural way to get through it, and you just let a doctor do their work, you're never like going on that journey. And that journey is what's so it's not about getting in the shape, but it's the journey and you know, the challenges that make you a better person. You see these physical things that you want, and you can obtain them, but on the path to do so is really where you gain the benefit. You know, it's not, the reward isn't how you look afterwards, but it's the inner strength that you've shown to yourself that you're possible.
Right. And I agree with you. Working out being an able-bodied human being and having the opportunity to better yourself through being physically active is such a wild blessing, and I feel like a lot of people take it for granted. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, so the reason I got involved with Sean and Zach and Meath is because last summer I had like incredibly bad chest pain because I was smoking all the time, right? And I went to go get
cigarettes?
No, this is marijuana. Okay. And vaping. And I still vape occasionally. It depends on how I'm feeling because, you know, as a man, nicotine has me by the balls. I won't lie. I won't.
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one, man. And I respect people who beat it because I just can't seem to find a way. But I went to the doctor, and they took x-rays of my chest. And about 3 days later, I was sitting in the middle of a test in my online schooling. My doctor calls me and goes, hey, there might be a possible growth inside of your left lung cavity. You need to come back for a CAT scan on Monday. And I went to go get a CAT scan, and I walked into the doctor's office, got my CAT scan, and she was like, you know, I really want to apologize, but the x-ray tech, it was her first day on the job without having somebody telling her what to do, and she took the x-ray from the wrong angle. The growth that we thought was in your left lungs is actually a rib that is angled downwards. So when an x-ray is taken, there's a shadow beneath all your bones, right?
Yeah. Because the x-rays cannot pass through your bones.
Exactly. But when it's taken from an angle like this, from your rib cage and your diaphragm, it's going to create a shadow.
The shadow shows up.
And, dude, I've never been that scared in my entire life.
Holy shit.
Like, I literally was like, you're 22, 23 years old. You've smoked yourself into having lung cancer, right? I just stopped.
I'll wake you up.
Dude, I quit cold turkey. Wow. I was just like, you've got to make a change. Because if you don't make a change right now, it's not going to stop. You're going to be 30 doing the same thing, 40 doing the same thing. And it's going to be really bad.
Yeah,
right?
You'd much rather put the stop to it now.
Exactly. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. I mean, I had cold sweats.
You had withdrawal symptoms?
Oh, dude, for marijuana, people say it's not physically addictive. It is. I will never, I will die on this hill. Find me, dude, it is just as physically addictive as any other substance out there. Alcohol, tobacco, anything. It is 100%. There's no way it's not. There's no way it's not. I smoked weed every single day of my life, almost every day for 4.5, 5 years, right? Seriously, I mean, I did. It's not someone I'm proud of, but I hope I can share my story to somebody who's out there and it's like, I want to stop, but I can't with whatever it is, you know? And like I said, I think it's March 13th.
March 11th currently.
Yeah, so in 2 days, I'll be an entire year without smoking weed. I would have never thought that was possible.
Congratulations, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
That's a big step.
And
thank you for sharing that story, that strength that you, when you quit, I'm sure was hell the first few days, a few hours.
Sucked.
But afterwards, how did you feel? Like after a week, knowing, hey, man, I can do this. How'd you feel?
After the first week, I literally, Grant Hegner actually was one of the biggest pieces of that. And he told me the day I wanted to quit, he's like, tomorrow we're going to the boat show and I want you to come. And I was like, I would have never woken up the next day without smoking before I did anything. It was the first day I did it in 5 years.
Oh my, how'd you feel? That must have been the weirdest, but
it was euphoric. It was literally like I'm talking to other human beings without being stoned for like the first time in such a long time.
And it felt great?
It felt great.
I feel like if you were in some sort of like psychological stance for so long that when you weren't in it, it would almost feel like you were high, like you were in a different mental state.
Oh, dude, and I don't know if you've ever heard anybody else say this, but when you stop smoking, the dreams you have are ridiculously
You have some
weird.
crazy dreams?
Oh, dude, like you'll wake up at 4 a.m. and you're like, what the hell? You're just like, you can't go back.
I woke up in this.
Yeah,
What?
exactly. No,
Where's my spaceship?
It's a really odd predicament you put yourself in when you quit. But I think casually it's an okay thing to do. I'm not one of those people who's like, yo, dude, it's the devil's lettuce. It's like in an ideal world, it's like I wish I could have the job that I have right now that pays me the way I do, and I could smoke, right?
Now I have to ask. Is Delta 8 legal with your job, or would that still?
It shows up. It shows up on a DISA test, which in the engineering, in the technician world, anything you do, Delta 8 still has THC in it.
Really?
Right?
I thought it was a completely different molecule.
No. You are not able to pass any form of drug test with Delta 8 in your system because it's going to trigger THC. It's not the problem with Delta 8, it's the problem with drug tests, right? So a lot of people have
Delta 8's federally legal.
It's federally legal. It's like
Yeah.
CBD.
Yeah.
The problem with it is if you're working for a company and they put you through a $600 drug screening, they're going to look for everything in the book.
And they don't care if it's Delta 8 or
anything.
or marijuana,
No, dude,
whatever.
Dude, there are companies out there who don't want you to be on CBD.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're very strict about when it. I want to say one thing is that, like I just stated, I don't think anybody out there who enjoys THC or CBD is a bad human being. I think the problem with the culture surrounding THC is these companies and the people who promote it so heavily are so reluctant to look at the downside of long-term cannabis abuse, regardless of what you do with it. And there is a big downside, right? And
Talk about some of the effects.
I mean, for one thing, I'll talk about a positive before I talk about a negative, okay? So I get some...
And it's so important. I want to say this. It's so important when talking about anything, health trends, ways of living, to discuss both sides of it. So much in our media, it's only one-sided. They're trying to promote something. But we're lifelong learners. It's all about honesty. So
yeah,
continue.
so I think one of the biggest positives that I've seen from cannabis coming to the mainstream, right? Because like when my mom was in her high school years, it was like, oh, you smoke weed, you're a devil worshiper, you know?
Did you go to school in Texas?
Yes, both of my parents were raised in
Yeah,
Texas.
Texas has always been super conservative.
Very
Same
conservative.
with my father. It's like anybody who smoked weed was like totally an outcast of
You're
society.
an outlier. Yeah, exactly. No, 100%. And I think...
But drinking at 18 in the parking lot's all
or
good.
driving a 2,000-pound vehicle without a seatbelt was completely okay back then.
Yeah,
you know?
it's crazy what we did back then.
No.
Wilder times.
That's so funny, but...
No, but in 10 years, we might be looking at social media and be like, you let your kids use that?
Oh, I mean, I have so much respect for my stepsister and my brother-in-law and the way, like, I'm getting off track, but, like, they, like, let their kids have screen time, but their kids are so involved in everything that they do. Their oldest child, Luke, is, like, barely 3, and I swear he has a bigger vocabulary than most 5-year-olds because they're so involved with him, and they want him to be included in what's going on. They don't want to, hey, go watch Cocomelon in the corner. You know, they're like, no, like, come interact with whoever is here.
So important.
It's so important, man. It's crazy, but...
Important for adults, too. I mean, I've gone through spurts in my life where, you know, I'm mostly just working, social media, that sort of thing. Maybe even, like, talking with my friends over the phone. But, like, you feel so much healthier when the majority of your day is spent with conversing people face to face. Like even like FaceTime or like Zoom, it isn't the same. Like you get so many more cues from people, and it's just great to connect with each other.
And like back to what you had asked me though, like one of the main positives I've seen from cannabis and CBD in particular, becoming more acceptable with American people is, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people who have like frequent seizures and things like that, like young children, where it's very, very, very hard for a family to function or operate with a child who seizes, 80 times a day. In New Jersey, I actually watched a documentary about this, and when Chris Christie was the governor, he was like so anti anything cannabis. Doesn't want hemp being sold in the state
because he's standing on his platforms that his party stands on.
Exactly, and you can't blame him. I think at the end of the day, weed is more negative than it is positive. But with CBD in particular, if you're talking about a form of medication that can help a 7-year-old child not seize 80 times a day, I'm all for it being legalized.
Yeah, there are certainly medical applications. I have seen those videos where they give very like large amounts of THC that would seize up pacify a huge man, and it helps people reduce the seizures. I'm not sure on the science behind it, but I know it's well documented. I know they also use it for cancer patients, people undergoing chemo that don't have a sense of appetite, and it's able to stimulate that and happiness in others. I think PTSD, it's used a little bit, although I think MDMA is the main molecule that they use.
Right.
But there are certainly great medical applications. CBD as well, they use it for, arthritis patients, people with inflammation, because it does reduce that. UFC fighters use it after their fights because it helps with that recovery. So there are certainly use cases, but it's important that both sides, whether it be the people selling the product or the politicians defending against it, are honest about the facts that we have well documented, the trusted science, the studies that are being done, the double-blinded studies. It is important for people to make those decisions, because you never want someone to start using something that is addictive physically, mentally, and not knowing what kind of roller coaster they're going on, whether it be marijuana, sugar, tobacco, Netflix, Instagram. All of these are very highly addictive, tools, and it's important for people to know the truth. And it's so important for people to share their stories. So I love when people are honest with it, and you have that great perspective to look back.
Yeah, and one of the, I mentioned a positive, and I think one of the most negative things surrounding cannabis is there is not a human being on planet Earth that consumes marijuana and becomes more productive.
Oh, well, I'll disagree with that. I would say what I've seen is marijuana affects a lot of people differently. And I don't know. I don't necessarily want this to turn into the weed podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's just talk from personal experiences, so I'll let you finish.
I just think maybe not a single human being. I would say 99% of human beings become less productive when they're stoned. I'm not talking about CBD. I'm not talking about medical use. I'm talking from a recreational standpoint. I would argue that after being a habitual smoker for 5 years, I will not get off of that hill. I've seen people do outrageously stupid things while they're stoned that they would have never done while they're not stoned, right? When it comes to productiveness, in the terms of like a 9 to 5 or a corporate job, 100% artistic creativity, I would maybe have a conversation.
I know someone personally, they're about like 50 years old. They, work at a large bank, and they say that they're rolling out a product. They have a Zoom meeting with like 500 people where they're, rolling out this new product, discussing it. And they say they smoke a little bit, like a tiny amount, and it helps them. It gains mental clarity for themselves, and they're able to work better. Now, it's certainly not something they smoke copious amounts. What I've seen from people is it affects everybody differently, and it sounds like from your experience, it it didn't make you more productive, and the people in your circle, it wasn't more productive.
Right.
So I certainly think it's important for people to take caution when
it's
using
the
anything.
same thing. It's
the
the
same
same
with alcohol. I mean,
yeah, like I just poured
we're drinking alcohol right now, and that shit. I mean, there's so many people that have alcohol addictions, opioid addictions. There are a lot of things in life that can be dangerous. So it's important to have conversations with people around you, see how it affects them, be honest with yourself. And if you do need help regarding these, you feel a substance or an activity, anything taking control over you. My main thing is I don't want anything to drive my own thoughts, whether it be
right.
like my sleep, my eating habits, like TV. Like I don't want to be driven by anything. If you are having those thoughts, reach out to your friends, tell them how you are, your family. Everybody's there to help you. What I've seen is people have become very non-judgmental in this day and age because, they're crazy things are happening to us. And so it is important to look back on that.
I couldn't agree more too. It's like, if you have a problem with something, regardless of what it is, I think, I went to therapy for a long time in anger management for almost 2 years of my life. Right. And I think seeking professional help is important in some cases. And in my case, it was incredibly important because I didn't have an outlet to like tell somebody, it's like, this is what I'm mad about. This is what bothers me, and not be judged. Right. And I think a lot of the times with like your close friends, even some things you don't want to talk about. Right.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
There's so much history revolving around that relationship.
You'd almost trust a stranger for some of
Exactly.
your innermost things. It's scary, but it's the truth. And I'm glad you feel the same way, because there are certain things where it's like, I'll trust a stranger on the street more than, some of my closest friends.
I went, me and my therapist had an inside joke. Have you seen that scene from Talladega Nights when he gets on the bus with the dude and he's like, he says, I forget what Will Ferrell says, but the guy goes, was I talking to you, motherfucker? Like, he gets like super mad at him, and he goes on this rant, and then Will Ferrell looks at him in the face and goes, I have immediately regretted speaking to you. It's like, dude, like, some people are just so harsh, but like, if you've got an issue with something, like, I'm such a supporter of seeking help in whatever way you think is healthy. You know, I think going to therapy or going to see, you know, a professional might not be the best way to heal for some people, but exactly what you just said. It's like, dude, I want people to be happy, and I like whatever your happiness is, just always think about your happiness and your health, right? Because I feel like in our generation, we've kind of lost that balance where it's like, I can be a total piece of shit and be happy, but on that same scale, are you healthy? Are you being positive?
It's the balance between short and long-term gratification. Mm-hmm. It's incredibly tough to sacrifice the short term for long-term gains, knowing that you'll gain them. For example, like eating, it's like, do I want to eat this delicious meal filled with sugar and crap, and it's going to be fucking delicious and I'm going to love it? Or do I want to eat, you know, vegetables or meat or something like natural and healthy, knowing that, yeah, I might not taste the best, but I know if I continuously do this for months on end and I continuously make that sacrifice, that I will feel better and gain what I need. And it's a tough thing. And it comes with, I would say, one of the most strong muscles that you could flex and like build is you know, how do I want to put this? Like mental fortitude.
100%.
Being mentally strong, which is so getting up in the morning, you know, jumping in a cold bath and doing cold plunges, or working out when you feel like shit and you don't want to get up. You do one thing. Like, if you're able to get up when you don't want to get up, it gives you a little bit of a boost, so that when you don't want to eat healthy, like you're like, no, fuck that. Like, I'm strong. I know I can do it, and it gives you that motivation.
It's like being told no. I feel like a lot of people have a terrible reaction to being told no, right? Regardless of what it is, like a girl that you're talking to or job interview, whatever it is. And I've adapted myself through trial and error to be prepared to be told no.
Because you've heard it so many times.
Right, and that's what me and Jacob talk about all the time, is not having expectations. It's like, don't ever expect somebody to be positive towards you or to tell you yes, right? Because in the day and age that we live in, it's like, dude, like, you have so many different types of social interactions with different types of human beings. To expect every single one of those situations to go 100% positively in 100% in the direction that you want it to go, it's just not realistic, right? So, you know, depending on what it is, right? Like, you know, you can have a good expectation, or expect a positive outcome to come out of, oh, this girl has expressed interest in you and you think she really likes you.
It's good to be like happy and
it's good to be
things,
positive, but my point is like, don't like get overbearing. And because I learned that the hard way. It's like, dude, I've been told no 1,000 times more than I've been told yes. But ever since I started taking better care of my health and thinking more positively and being more confident, it's like, dude, like, the success ratio has definitely increased. That's all I'm going to say, right? And I used to be, I was talking about this earlier when we were brainstorming. It's like, I used to be such a negative human being. I used to just be like, this is going to suck, right? Regardless of what was going on in my life, like, oh, I had a 15-hour day. I had to go do this, something I didn't want to do. This is going to be the worst experience ever. That's how I thought. Now I've done a complete 180.
Why do you think you felt so negative naturally? Do you think that's something you were born with, or like up until high school, that was something that like you learned? Was it nature or nurture?
I think it had a lot to do with the way that I was treating myself. I think people beat themselves up over small things, and like, one of the biggest lessons that I ever learned is like with my last relationship, like serious relationship, is like, I will never, ever, ever put myself in that position with somebody who doesn't give the effort that I do, right? It's like, if I'm dating a woman, right, and I can tell that she's being reluctant in how she feels and the way she talks to me, it's like, we can be friends. Mm-hmm. We can go out and get lunch.
But we're not building anything together.
We're not Facebook official. You know what I'm saying? We're not a pair, right? Because I'm a lover. like through and through. It's like I care about other human beings deeply, you know? And I just refuse to be taken advantage of and be the supplier of feelings and energy. It's like,
have
dude,
a parasitic relationship.
exactly. It's like they're feeding off of you until they get full, and then they're like,
They'll move on.
See ya.
And you'll feel
You
like
know.
you have a hole in your chest when in reality you were just feeding someone that didn't give a shit about you.
100%. And it's funny that you say that because it's like when I tell my nephew this all the time, right? It's like he's about to get into high school, and I'm like, don't date. Have fun.
Damn, you told him not to date?
No. Not like don't date. Like you can have a girlfriend, but don't be that guy who's like,
She's the one, bro.
Yeah, I met the love of my life when I was 16 years old. It's like, dude, if I could tell myself one thing, if I could tell my 16-year-old self one thing right now, it would be get as swole as possible when you have the most free time in your life, which is high school, right? Go to the gym 7 days a week, work out, do cardio, and eat healthy, right? If I could tell myself, my 16-year-old self, one thing right now, it would be that word for word.
Why do you think physical fitness is so important to you?
Well, I think that's funny because I wrote that down on my pad here, and that's something I wanted to talk about. I think physical fitness is very important for your brain. I think the way that you look at yourself, it becomes how you act. And like with Sean and Zach, right? Like they're not positive because they think positivity is going to grow their brand. They're positive because they feel great about themselves every single day when they wake up, considering where they were, right? Like, think
they
about
have an
that.
incredible story as well. I'm going to have them on the podcast a little bit later, and they'd love
That'll
to
be
share
a
the
great
details.
episode,
They
dude.
had a great journey.
Dude,
You want to be part of the audience, bro? I'll get another mic in.
We gotta have like a four-way. Like, I'll bring my laptop. We'll set up another
Dude,
microphone.
we'll
and I
all
can
be
just-
around this circular table, just like shirts off, flexing. just be
you-
like, bro, that's so positive.
Who can hold their arms up for the longest?
Honestly, that would be a great podcast.
That would be such a funny.
Everybody keeps their
podcast.
arms
Like,
up.
bro. They would win. They'd be in a neck and neck
Yo,
competition.
honestly, let me know what y'all think about this. We could have like an interactive podcast where it's more than just discussing. Like, I'm talking like drinking raw eggs, like push-up competitions, like a whole game show almost.
That'd be. I think,
And that'd be hilarious, bro. That'd be great people to have on for it.
dude. They're top quality human beings, but like they're not happy because they're fit. They're happy because they challenge themselves, right?
It could be any medium that they use, whether intellectual, physical, relationship-wise.
Particularly with physical fitness, it's like, dude, like I refuse to accept, like, you know, on TikTok or like Twitter, right? Because I deleted Twitter 2 years ago, right? Because it's a toxic cesspool where stupid people get to express their opinions and throw it to the masses.
Welcome to the internet.
Welcome to the internet.
And that's what this is right here. We're just throwing it to
So
the
this is
people.
two relatively intelligent human beings having
Yeah.
a conversation. But on
It's a double-edged sword. You are right. You're able to put anything out there, which is great to have freedom of speech, but also the anonymity, it becomes like an echo chamber. You can have some really bad stuff.
No, 100%. I mean, with physical fitness, it's like I was gonna put this on my Instagram story last night. I made a video because I was at the gym until 2:15 last night. Right, I had a 20-hour day, and I was running off fumes. Honestly, I hadn't taken pre-workout in 2 weeks because I took a break.
And do you drink caffeine when you're working 20 hours?
I have to. Are you kidding?
Well, I mean, some people can like function without caffeine.
I cannot.
With like a regular 12-hour day, but like 20 hours, like I don't even know because I don't really speak with a lot of blue-collar people. So caffeine
Yeah.
runs rampant.
No, dude. I mean, there are guys. When I worked in the oil fields, it's like, dude, people are. There are guys out there. You know what red line is? Like, you know what 5-hour energy is, right?
I've heard of 5-hour.
Red line is like those same size bottles, but like 5 times the amount of caffeine, and they have like warning labels on it, like Surgeon General warnings, like do not drink more than 2 of these in a 24-hour period.
I want to take this opportunity, being that we are speaking about like honesty. I do have a close friend of mine who worked blue collar, used to work with tractors and that sort of thing. And they had serious heart problems from the caffeine they drank. They were drinking multiple cups of coffee, multiple energy drinks a day. I'd love to have them on the pod and speak to the specific numbers. But caffeine can be, like in excess, can be extremely dangerous to the heart. So it is important whenever you're using any sort of substance, whether legal or illegal, to know what sort of effects they can have. So it makes sense that people would use it when you need 20 hours. Like, I don't think you could go without it. But to all those people out there, you do need to be careful.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. I think I have a lot of drive. I'm not trying to brag on myself, but compared to the average 23-year-old in this generation, like, I see people on social media frequently complain about like an 8-hour shift, and I just laugh at it because it's like, it's really not that bad, regardless of what you're doing.
And you may have looked at an 8-hour shift and been scared of it, like in high school or like middle school way back. But because of the experience and the barriers that you've broken through yourself, like looking in the mirror, this is me, that you know, like, oh, 8 hours, like that's easy. I'm stronger than that because you know what you're capable of.
Right. And that's not like, I'm not like throwing rain or dirt on somebody else. Cause,
speaking from experience.
Yeah, it's just my job is mentally demanding and physically demanding.
And your current job, just real quickly, you work as a DC power field engineer?
Yes, sir.
That's correct. We talked about it a little bit before the show. Him and my dad were like totally geeking out because you work for a contracting firm that's contracted by Cheniere.
Yeah.
They have an LNG plant, liquefied natural gas, as me and my father had discussed in the last podcast. My dad actually helped design this plant in Corpus Christi, and Grayson does some work out there, so they were geeking out about it. They spoke for like 20 minutes. I was like, all right, Dad, like I'd really like to have my guest back. Yeah. We have a podcast to film.
I could not speak more highly about the guys at Cheniere. I mean, seriously, they treat us so well, and they appreciate what we do for them. And I really, every morning I wake up and I go work there, I feel so fortunate and so blessed that that's my job, and I get to work for a company that really cares about the people that are there. And with the company that I work for right now, it's like I feel the same way. It's like, dude, we have a monthly newsletter where they shout out people and give people awards, like big awards, not like a $20 gift card, like, significant awards. And, it's just, I feel so fortunate in the position that I'm in right now, and just blessed, man. Like I couldn't say enough about the company I work for and my bosses and, my mentors that I have. And, it's just, I'm really, really proud of myself for working hard my entire life and I've never felt sorry for myself. Like, I've had a lot of bad days, but I've never looked in the mirror and been like, why you? It's like, I'm always like, all right, throw me some more shit. I'll deal with it. Right. And I've kind of molded myself into a type of person who's like exactly what I was talking when I told you me and Jacob talk about that all the time about having expectations. It's like, I don't have any expectations for anybody, right? Or any situation. It's like when you ask a girl out, I don't go, oh, dude, like, I'm 6'1", 220, I bench 300 pounds. She has to say yes. I've got a great job. It's like, no, like, she might have boundaries. She might think the way that I look is unattractive.
She might have a boyfriend.
She might have a boyfriend or a guy she talks to, or she might not be wanting. It's like, I feel like people put so much pressure on themselves, and it's like, I just went through that. Like, I literally asked a girl if she wanted to go to the rodeo, and she's like, no, you're a lot of fun. Like, we had fun last week, whatever it was that we did, but, you did this, you did that. I didn't like it. I'm like, okay, I respect it. I told her, I appreciate it for being honest, right? Like, thank you. I literally told her, I was like, thank you. Like, I appreciate it, Because
we've had so many times where people, like, run you around. They're not honest with you, not upfront. And you're left thinking, like, what did I do? And it's like a mental head fuck.
Dude, I hate playing games with women. I can't stand it. And that's why I'm direct. It's like if there's a girl that I meet, like, out in Midtown, and, like, we dance and we went home together, whatever, right? I'm like, hey, like, I'd like to do that again. I'm very direct. I'm not like, hey, I want to make you my girlfriend. It's like, I'd like to go out and then go home with you again. And like I told you, it's like my success ratio is not that high, but I feel better about being honest and not playing games with somebody else. Like, hey, I want to make you my girlfriend.
Back to the car salesman thing. You want to be honest with people and sell what you got. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. Do you visit Reddit very much?
Not so much anymore, but like middle school up through high school, like I used to Reddit pages often. They have great resources, educational,
right.
Entertainment resources, anything you're looking for.
There's a subreddit called Ask Reddit.
Oh, I like Ask Reddit.
Yeah, and about 2 months ago, it's like one of their most liked posts of all time. And it essentially was like, men of Reddit, what is one thing that you wish women understood more? And the top like comment was, it was like, guys like being asked out.
Oh, hell yeah.
810,000
Ayo,
upvotes, like 2,000 awards.
Wait,
right?
who doesn't like being asked out?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, dude, if a woman thinks I'm attractive, and I feel like it, especially being raised by a single mom, it's like, I don't want to be disrespectful to the point where I'm walking out with you and bothering you. You know, it's like, because I understand, because there's 100 guys at that same bar who have probably already acted like a complete jackass towards you.
I wonder what it feels like to be asked out.
That's what I'm saying. Or like walking past a guy, I think there was like an SNL skit, or maybe it was Comedy Central where they did that, where it's like women catcalling guys, and that's why I don't do that. I refuse to act like a pig, because I understand it's like you look like such an asshole and so trashy, and the success ratio of catcalling a woman on the side of the streets is negative. It's not even zero. It's like
I'm pretty sure catcalling is like pretty much canceled. Like any of that.
Yeah,
like
it should be. It should be. It's gross. It's gross. I wouldn't say never. Maybe like I've never looked at a woman on the side of the street and been like whistled. I can't even whistle. I've never been able to.
But here's a funny thing. If you've ever been in like a heavy lifting gym, dudes love being catcalled. If you ever walk by a dude, be like, damn, nice lats, or like, oh, like I'm trying to get like you, like dudes are like start blushing, like the biggest dude will blush, and like, you know what I mean? Like maybe the gym is a different area where there's like familial love and stuff, but like it would be funny if men were catcalled. I mean, I'm sure at first it would be flattering, but after like 20 catcalls, it would be like kind of disgusting.
Yeah, and that's exactly my point. Is like you have to treat not even like. From a man to a woman, like you have to treat everybody with respect. And it's like, okay, you want to get down and dirty, like they're feeling you, you're feeling them, right? It's game, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like if you think a girl, you know, really likes you, or you like her, it's like ask. Don't be that guy. You know what I'm saying? It's like you need to communicate. And I think our generation has really, really lost that
because you're vulnerable when you're communicating your honesty. Being honest is
right,
tough.
and that's what I'm saying. My success ratio is very low. It's not high at all. But I feel better about myself being that guy who's like, hey, you know, there's no way we're ever going to date. But I'd like to go out with you again, you know?
I like that.
Right, and that's exactly my point. It's like I feel like women like that. Like, and even if they ODR me, right, I get the point of what they're trying to say.
It's better than building something and then breaking it off because y'all had different expectations of what it was.
Couldn't agree more. And it goes back to expectations. It's like, you know, with the job I have, with the amount that I travel right now, I don't want a girlfriend. That's not what I'm looking for.
To the girls in Versace's DMs, he doesn't want a girlfriend.
Hey.
Yo, but if you're trying to go to the rodeo,
but if you're trying to two-step, I'll show you a good time.
Yeah, I've seen. Yo, he gave me a dance.
Yeah,
last
we were dancing
weekend.
last week.
Yeah, that was funny. We did a quick little dance.
Yeah, dude. And that's exactly why I love you so much, man. Is because there were these like two like wannabe redneck dudes.
Yeah.
Or three of them. And when you walked out for the first time, they were like laughing at you, and I was like, you know, who's having fun and who's not having fun?
Yeah, they were standing on the edge of the dance floor.
You're standing on the edge of the dance floor with your arms crossed, and Jordan Orsak is out there freaking,
grooving.
Getting told no is not a bad thing.
It's liberating.
It's liberating. It gives you a scale, right? It's like, I know where I'm at. I'm trying to have fun. There's no point in making it anything more than it has to be. I've been told no a billion times. Dude, like I shoot my shot. I'm like Curry.
Wayne Gretzky, baby. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
I'm literally like Steph Curry. It's like I'm just honest. I'll pull up from half court. And if I miss, I miss.
What does it look like you pulling up from half court? What's the shot? Shoot it to me. I'm a girl. I've had 3 vodka sodas. I'm dancing. I got a new dress from Shein.
Shein?
Yeah, what's popping? I'm on a budget. What's up?
What are you doing later?
I'm dancing right here at this bar.
Do you want to dance?
Sure.
okay, let's dance.
So that's a
like
half-court
that's
shot?
direct. That's what I'm saying.
I guess so. Yeah,
I don't have game. I'm not like one of those dudes off of what was that TV show about the people in New York where a Gossip Girl where they're like, you know what, baby, you're just so fine. I can't stand the way it's like, dude, I'm not that type of guy. It's like I'm like, hey, you look. I'll tell her,
You're
dude,
cute. Would you like to dance?
yeah, exactly. Like if I think a girl looks good, or like I think she's attractive, I'll tell her to her face, like, you're beautiful, right? I don't think that makes me corny, because a lot of guys out there, they like to play hard to get, and like, dude, I'm not.
I can't play that. I'm not smart enough to play those games.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, I have a mind for a lot of different things, but I don't have a mind for like sitting there for 4 hours every day of my life. Like, how am I gonna finesse? It's
Dude,
like,
and we're not trying to sell cars. We're just trying to have a good time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You don't need the new Honda Odyssey.
Nah, baby,
don't
you
need
can
it.
go home with this Ford Tacoma, whatever, right now today for this low
Exactly.
MSRP, baby. What you see is what you get.
It's like, dude, I feel like in our generation specifically, I talk to my dad about this a lot, and I'm like, everybody likes to be appreciated and told good things, right? Like, when a girl, or like, you know, one of the girls I'm talking to right now, right? She really likes the way that my arms look, and I like, yeah, I like feed off of it. Like, she'll Snapchat me and be like, "Your arms look great. Like, crush my head." You know, like, I'm serious, and I'm like, it makes me feel good, and like, I appreciate that type of feedback. It's like not even in a sexual manner, but like, dude, I have so many guy friends who are in the gym every single day. Like, dude, like I have. If I need a compliment, I can get it, right? Mm-hmm. But
You can throw some thirst traps out there.
Dude,
Don't look at
when
my
I
Instagram from like circuit.
when I get abs at 215,
You
y'all
look like Aaron Donald.
y'all are gonna have to start speaking to me differently. No, I'm joking. But it
Humility.
yeah, humility. But no, that was one of the most ignorant things I've ever said. But
It's all jokes here.
it's
too,
all
as
jokes.
well.
It's all fun. But I just wish, like, if I could gain anything out of being more open with women, it would be to help other guys out there understand. It's like, it's not that big of a deal. If you get told no, if you get rejected, if you get shot down, the worst, if you're respectful, that's what I'm saying, because I'm respectful. I'm not like one of those guys who's like, oh, you tell me no? Okay, that's a challenge. You tell me no, it's a no. Because I don't want to get slapped. I don't want to be the asshole who gets slapped. I don't want to be, like, you know, it's like, you don't need to go to that point. But when you find the girl who's like, yeah, it's so much more relieving and easy to be like, okay, she said yes, we'll go to the next point, than being that guy who's like, oh, she told no? Okay, that's a challenge. Okay, well, now I have to do this. Now I have to act like an asshole.
And if you are respectful in asking a girl, like, if she wants to dance or have a good time, and she
Right.
says no, chances are, like, even if she says no and you eventually get her to say yes, you're not going to have a great time. Like, if I'm asking a girl out, like, hey, I think you're cute, love to dance, if she says no, then either, like, she doesn't find me attractive, which is, like, then it won't happen,
Right.
or she doesn't want to dance. And, like, to be honest, do I want to, like, if she can't dance, then she's no friend of mine. You know what I mean?
I'll be out there dugging, man.
Yeah, man, I love to dance. Yeah, just
Dude,
a little
dancing
side.
it's fun, man.
It's so good, liberating. Like, I understand why, like, tribal organizations, like, they dance all the time. They, like, have these.
I wish
dickies.
white people danced more.
Whoa.
YMCA?
I don't even think it's like a race thing. I think just like.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, like, I wish, like, from the standpoint, it's like, okay,
I think everybody needs to dance more.
I think, you know what? I think from a world view standpoint, it's like if we all had a big dance off, every nation, we send our best dancers. I'm talking Jabberwockies, Chris Brown. Top tier human beings.
Some of these.
Yeah, what do they do? The hand
The
push?
tutting. It's called
Yeah.
tutting. I have some friends that tut. I used to be big in the rave scene, and they would have. Bro, I gotta share some stuff
I
later.
used to be big in the race.
Yeah, real big. And they used to have these
love
white
it.
gloves they'd put on, and they would have lights on every single finger, and they would do these crazy, like...
Oh,
twists
like the
and
light
turns.
show people?
Yeah,
where
light
they're
shows,
like-
bro. It's so cool. Yeah, light shows was amazing, bro. Everybody likes
no,
art.
that's-
And it's a way to, like, express yourself, too.
I was actually like 4 years ago, I was at Hard Summer. You know Eli.
Oh, nice,
Do you
bro.
know Eli Roberson?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
Eli,
I love
feel like
Eli.
y'all are like twins. I was actually looking at old pictures the other day, and dude, Hayden and Eli, Andy Rich were all on the selfie at Stereo Live.
Bro, that's so funny.
Dude,
But,
I gotta post it after this.
shout
I might
out-
just throw it on the gram.
dude, shout out to Eli Roberson, dude. He is
Big homie. And Lou Bell. We were in our like Jewish fraternity basically. It
dude.
was like
The Roberson family, dude. But we went to Hard Summer together in Los Angeles, yeah. And there are these people just walking around like geared out, just like the entire time, bro. I respect. It's like I was telling you about strippers earlier. It's like, dude, I respect strippers.
Oh wait, you didn't talk about strippers earlier.
Did I not?
No, you
Oh,
didn't.
I respect strippers.
Strippers were going on in his mind. I think while he was
Maybe
discussing
you're right.
something.
You're right. I was thinking about going to.
I think when he was discussing
My birthday's next week.
trials, tribulations, and being respectful.
No, I mean, I'm serious. It's like, dude, like the first time I ever went to a strip club, I walked in the door and there was this girl 14 feet in the air, hanging on a pole, twerking. And I'm like, all right, like we're all here to have a good time, but that's talent. That takes effort. Like, go
Tip
do
of the
that.
cap. Tip of the cap.
Go do that and make it look good. They deserve all the money they make. You can't tell me they don't.
No, absolutely. I'm a big fan for people taking power over their own lives, whatever situation you're in, and doing what you want.
Couldn't
and
agree
and
more.
to people to be like as comfortable with themselves in their situation and do something like that, it's honorable.
No, I think from a like talent standpoint, right? Like how talented is a human being, all right? As a guy, like as you're, two guys here, like if we were to say, oh, what is talent? We're like, okay, LeBron James is really talented. Lamar Jackson, shout out Baltimore. Lamar Jackson is really talented.
Yeah, but he can't throw the ball worth shit. What was his passer rating last year?
like higher than most everybody in the NFL.
I'm looking it up. Continue the story.
But all I'm saying is like as guys, when we look at talent, we like tend to think of athletes, right? Like, would you agree with that? Like when you think of like a guy who's like super talented, it doesn't like not even sports in general. Like when the word talent comes to your mind, who do you think of? An athlete. Am I wrong? At least for me, like 100%.
Yeah, athlete's definitely the first one. Because we're already
Yeah.
discussing it, I was primed to do something else, and I thought Steve Jobs. But I agree, like athletes, they're quantitative. It's easily measurable. I mean, the only other
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's measurable through statistics. Like direct, how do you impact your team? It's the most you can't find another field that's more statistically driven than sports. If you perform, you perform. If you don't play.
Sorry, I'm looking this up. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21st in completion percentage, Lamar Jackson.
Okay, go to his 2019 MVP year.
2019. Okay, we're cherry picking data here. Lamar Jackson is a wonderful athlete, and I'm sure he could run circles around me.
No. I totally agree with you. I think he has a lot of work to do, but I love the dude to death because of how humble he is. And look, all I'm saying is this, right? If you win as much as that guy does, your statistics are thrown out of the window. And look at Aaron Rodgers. He has some of the greatest statistics of all time.
Any rings?
He has one. You know who else has one Super Bowl ring?
Who?
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco.
The real Joe Shiesty.
Joe baby.
Joe Cool. Playoff Joe. I'm just saying, it's like people love to throw these guys in this conversation, but in reality, what are you working towards?
So what was your point on success?
Like when a guy thinks of talent, what do we think of? And I will argue that with anybody. When somebody goes, what is talent? My male brain goes, athletes or super successful businessmen. Like you said, Steve Jobs, right? Like when somebody tells me what does talent look like, I'm like, dude, LeBron James.
And it seems like you might
Tom
have like
Brady.
an issue with that like preconceived notion.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not an issue. I think I watch so many sports. Like I grew up in a family, single mom. My mom loved sports. Like me and my brother were raised in a home where we watched Rockets games every single night, Astros games, Texans games, right? And when maybe for somebody else it might be different. There are a lot of guys out there who don't like sports, but I couldn't imagine being like that. I think that's my main point I'm trying to make is because it embodies competitiveness, right? Like, what other form of media or entertainment embodies that?
Competitiveness.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
The stock market.
Yeah, social
No.
media, which I think
No.
is really like a platform for all competitive nature. People can compare physical attributes. They can compare trading capabilities when it comes to like investing on the stock market. They can compare jobs. I mean, LinkedIn is oftentimes a measuring contest. People can use any medium. I think we're naturally competitive beings, and I think competition can be very healthy. I think competition with yourself is utterly the most helpful because you don't want to be comparing, your step 1 to someone's like step 50. You know what I mean? I wouldn't compare myself to Steve Jobs and say, I'm a failure because I'm not at this area. I need to look at myself yesterday and say, how can I be better than that person? Right. And I think that's the healthiest thing people can do. Look at themselves, want to improve, not be afraid of failure. The easiest way is to go out there and fail and see that it doesn't cut you down, or maybe it feels bad, but I guarantee you it feels way less worse than what you thought it did. And so that I'm a big believer in going out there trying new things.
I think I used to be like very reserved, and now it's like, dude.
Wait, when were you ever reserved?
Dude, people always say this. They're like, you have the confidence of
It's like the Kanye documentary. A giant looks in the mirror and they see nothing. Versace looks in the mirror and he sees a shy person. Everybody else sees this. I don't want to say braggadocious. Maybe back in high school, but like this.
No, I was so cocky, dude. I was in my bag in high school, dude.
Yeah,
I
Now he's backed it up.
Now I backed it up.
Hell
Look
yeah,
at me
bro.
now. No,
Look at you now. You got a nice job. You're working out now. You're positive. My favorite thing to see about you, we've always been vibing just because we have like similar interests and like, we're always having a good time. But when you really speak to someone and get down on like base levels of like the challenges that we've had, like the fact that you're like the positivity is like what's pushing me forward, and it's the most important thing to like be positive and keep on working, because that's important for someone starting from the bottom, and it's important from someone at the top. Is you always have to be pushing towards that next step and be okay with failure. It's so important.
And that's something I always ask myself. It's like, what does peak positivity look like? Because you can always. It kind of relates back to physical fitness. You can always be more fit, but how positive can you be as a human being? How encouraging and how kind can you be, right? And I feel like a lot of people don't ask themselves that question. How kind, how positive, how uplifting can you be? Dude, I hate the fact that like it's become this fad in our society, like in our generation, to like shit on other people for what they like to do. I can't stand it. It's like, dude, if that person wants to do this and that person wants to do that, why hate on them? It's like it takes so much energy to hate on people.
It's so bad for you.
And it's so toxic. It's like, what do you gain? What do you gain from sitting there in your personal life being like, oh, dude,
safety. When you pull someone down a peg, in your eyes, they are weaker than they were before. And by comparison, and to your point, everything's a competition. Everything's competitive. You are therefore in a better light. You're better situated because in your mind you've pulled them down a peg.
Right. But at the same time, negativity only breeds negative things. Mm-hmm. People say negativity, right? Like being pessimistic, I guess. But at the end of the day, what does hating bring?
Nothing.
No, it breeds worse situations. It breeds people to become more negative. I mean, dude, TikTok comments are the best example of what I'm talking about, right? You have people on TikTok who are like sharing something that they care about, or an artistic, feature of their life, or something that they enjoy doing, and they might not be good at it. But if it goes on the For You page of TikTok, there's going to be people in there hating. Like going out of their way to make somebody feel bad.
Because they're unwell in their own standpoint.
I just don't understand it.
I like to think of people, I know there's, statistical scientists out there. If you're listening, I would love to have you on the podcast. I love statistics. I'd like to think of our population as being a normal distribution. You've seen what a normal distribution is, right? Like the bell curve. for those who don't know, this is like kind of what the bell curve looks like. And supposedly it's like, 60% of the people are in the center, like one standard deviation away. And then you have these tails where a really small percentage of the people would be. Like, you're always going to have people on both sides. You're going to have the super positive and you're going to have the super negative. It's kind of like the yin and yang. And if you can find a way to breed positivity out of those negative thoughts, thinking like, hey, someone's being like shitting on me, I must be doing something right. That's a true like benefit. That's fantastic.
Dude, I hate to even bring this up, but like last year I had a guy get in my Snapchat swipe up, right? And he has not liked me for a long time. I won't name drop because we don't give out free clout here.
Yeah, no free advertisements.
No free advertisement.
And if you're looking to advertise on the podcast, you know where to reach me. It's lcubedpodcast@gmail.com.
Exactly. Hit him up. But I told him, I said, if this is the way you feel, I will give you $1,000 because we live in the same neighborhood. I've known this individual my entire life. He's never liked me for multiple reasons, and I don't blame him. I don't hate the guy, but there have been 15 times in the past 10 years where he's either DM'd me or seen me in person or said something to me to where I'm like, you wouldn't fight me for $1,000. And I finally got to the point, the last time he did, I said, I will show up to Lafayette Park tomorrow and I will hand you $1,000 cash if you'll fight me. And I got blocked on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter,
blocked
Snapchat.
on LinkedIn? Oh, you must have. I can't. I didn't even know you had a LinkedIn. We got to connect.
No, and my point is this. It's like, don't be a hater. Because I've been there. I've been there, man. Like, you cannot, regardless of what you're doing with your life, if you shit on other people for doing things that they enjoy, regardless if you agree with them, right? And politics is one of the main, that's one of the main points of conversation in society right now. Is politics, right? And people get at each other's throats, man, over politics. And I can't stand it because it's like, regardless of what you believe or what I believe, we could be on the opposite sides of the spectrum, and I would love you with all of my heart. We could look at everything differently, right? And I would love you so much, like unforgiving love, right? And that's how I want to look at things going forward. It's like, you cannot be somebody who consistently hates and be positive. It just
nothing good will come out of it. And to wrap this up, it's like there are millions of things to be divisive about, things to disagree on, but it only takes one thing to share in common with people to bring you together. And being positive and switching your brain to exude the positivity, even when you might have negative thoughts, but to choose to be positive is so internally helpful and healing for yourself as well as the people around you. You should absolutely do it, because at the end of the day, we have different opinions, but we're all humans. We're all trying to do this thing together. It's confusing times, and when you show compassion for your fellow brothers and sisters, like, it makes the world a better place, and it gives us a little bit of a cushion when we are discussing tough topics.
Right.
I think politics are important because it's important to figure out where the heck we're going as a country. I have very strong feelings, and I want people that are also passionate about our country to share their feelings, because it's important to get to the truth. And when you share that compassion with people, that's when you can sit down at the table with anybody from whatever different background, whatever different belief system, and at the end of the day, feel better about each other and have those tough conversations. And so that's what I would leave us on. Are there any final comments you want to make about this topic before we get on?
I'm ready to move on. Bro.
Yeah, we went deep right there. This is going to be an L cubed first. I want everybody, if you're listening to this and you've made it an hour 50, get up and stretch.
Hold on.
It feels good. Stretch it out. Stretch it out. Ugh. I may edit this out. I may keep it in. I don't know, but I definitely needed to stand up after that one. All right, we're live again. Perfect. We just got done with an amazing stretch session, and Grayson was telling me that this was the most fun you've had in a really long time.
Absolutely.
Why do you say that? Elaborate.
I've always wanted to like expand my horizons into some form of media, and I feel like you said when we started, like we've always gotten along really well, like our group, but like me and you specifically, like
Yeah,
dude,
man. We can run into each other like the other day
at the rodeo.
And before that even,
Yeah.
we played soccer, and I hadn't seen you in probably like 3 years maybe, and we just pick it up like it's nothing, and that nothing's passed, like, you know, because it's just like natural, you know, it's on site.
100%. And the part that I love about this is just being able to, you know, people talk about shooting the shit. It's like a very popular term between guys our age. Like, oh, we just shot the shit. It's like, no, it's like, I like talking about real things and like real topics and having a discussion with another human being. It's like, what do you gain after 50 minutes of shooting the shit with somebody? You're like, oh, well, I got to go do this. I got to go do that. It's like, dude, this is coming up on 2.5 hours of a conversation, you know? And it's a real blessing to have people like you in my life. I'm serious, man. Like you, it's just like positivity, forwardness, being direct. Like it's rare you find somebody who's able to be like, you know what, man, like let's talk about serious things and fun things and interesting things instead of, you know, what'd you do last Friday? Oh, well, I went to HEB and, you know, then I went and golfed.
Yeah.
It's like, who
Talk
cares?
for 30 minutes about nothing.
About nothing. It's
I like talking about ideas. I like what you mean on that.
I'm a big picture guy. I really am.
It's when you're able to have conversations that improve the quality of life for others, for both people, have those tough conversations, learn from others. That's when communication is very beneficial rather than an emotional crutch or something you're comfortable with. I feel comfortable when I bullshit about what I did last Friday night because I don't have to share anything real about myself. It's something I did. It's in the past. But when someone asks me how I'm feeling, it's a much tougher conversation. I have to look introspectively. I have to be honest about how I actually feel. I have to be raw and give my emotions, whether it be great or sad. I would say, you know, be emotional, be yourself, and good things come out of it because, you know, on the shell, everybody seems to be a super happy person, especially with social media. Everybody's portraying this certain type of life, but everybody can connect with the struggle you're going through,
right.
Whatever it be, however small, however large. We're all looking to improve ourselves, and chances are we've all had similar thoughts and problems. And so to be able to share those, learn from each other's, learn from people's experiences, their true experiences, is beautiful. And so for that, I'm like truly thankful that I'm able to live in this society, in this age, to where we can communicate. Not only that we can meet each other, you know, we're not warring tribes that don't communicate, we just kill each other, but also that we can spread the love and the positivity and the knowledge through the sound waves. It's an amazing technological feat, you know, to do that. So I really thank everybody. Thank God, you know. Creator.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think on one hand, you've got technology, right? You've got the ability to reach the masses from wherever you are at any point. On the other hand, you've got an audience, and that audience could be anybody. There's almost 8 billion people living on planet Earth right now. It's crazy to think about that, but at the end of the day, like I told you earlier, it's like having real conversations with real people in a real setting it's healing. It really is. It's like, it's therapeutic to sit down with somebody and be like, you know what, man, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm doing. This is what I've been through. And then have somebody respond, and then have that person go, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I've been through. And you connect and you bond. And I feel like that's the greatest part about a podcast, is the ability to say, you know what, this is my story. That's what it is. And if people want to listen, they want to listen, you know? But this has been, I love talking. I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but
yeah, you're very natural.
I love talking, man. It's like social interaction is so crucial to the well-being of human beings. I mean, seriously, it's like,
it's good for your minds.
It's good for every part of yourself. Are you kidding? It's like, dude, being able to sit down with another human being and having an honest conversation, debate, or even an argument where I'm sitting on the other side of a spectrum of somebody else, it's a positive interaction, right? And I feel like we've lost that sense of appreciation for the other side, like in our generation, right?
Yeah, you villainize people based on their beliefs, and a lot of what's happening is like, because you believe this one thing, everything else you do is like bad, and it's so divisive with families. Thanksgiving dinners, a lot of people, can't be invited because of these feelings. And I urge everybody to lean into disagreements. Even though you disagree, we're all on the same side. It's important to have these conversations, because afterwards, even after having an argument, you realize, look, we didn't agree on something, but we're still on the same side. And that person shared what they truly think because they're trusting of me and they want the best thing for our society. And that's a beautiful thing, to be able to share your knowledge, your truth, your perspective. Sharing is caring. And I mean, I don't want to take us back to kindergarten, but our teachers were right. Sharing is caring. So go out there, share your feelings with strangers, with your friends, with your family. And before we wrap up, I got to put you in the hot seat, Versace. Versace, I know we chopped it down. We kept it real on this podcast, but for sure in the future ones, we'll get a little bit more wild. Versace is one of the most entertaining human beings I know to date, and so I just got to give y'all a little taste of this. Versace, what's that one thing that if a girl's doing this at a bar, you say, damn, I'm going over there and I'm shooting my shot?
Jack and Coke.
Jack and Coke.
If I hear a girl go, I'll take a Jack and Coke.
That's when you know it's on?
I'm like I said 40 minutes ago, I'm Steph Curry from the logo.
Damn. Well, I heard there's plenty of Jack being poured at the rodeo. If you're in Houston, support the local rodeo. It's back, baby. No more pandemic. We're out here. There's cattle involved. It's a great family fair. I went last weekend to Grayson's point. So Jack and Coke. All right, bet. What's the go-to dance move on the floor? You said you love the dance.
At the rodeo or in general?
In general.
Man, in general, I'll probably chop it up with some Young Nation.
What's a Young Nation? Show it to the crowd. Can you stand up real quick? Just a little bit.
You want to make me do this?
Yeah, just a little bit. Come on. You don't have to if you don't want to.
No. Let me tilt the camera.
Yeah, tilt it up a little bit.
Jig, and then.
Oh, the little shoulder action. I like that.
And then you got to clap and then bring it down.
Oh, girls like when you break it down. The lower you go.
I've never met a woman in my life who doesn't like it when you break it down.
There you go. The lower you go, the lower the panties go.
But I will tell you this. If I'm at the rodeo, I'm taking my shirt off.
You take your shirt off at the rodeo.
With a body like this?
Dude, I feel like, no lie, if I saw Grayson take his shirt off at the rodeo, I'd get my brand hot. I'd be like, this cattle's ready for it.
Dude,
I'm just clowning.
No. I just dancing and dude, I could talk to you for 12 hours. The beauty of dancing is the fact that it's a social and physical interaction. Because as a guy, 99% of the time, unless you're a little baby, a girl's not gonna walk up to you and be like, "Hey, do you want to dance?" But
yeah. What
I learned last week is you can walk up to a girl who's madly out of your league. Because I boogie down, bro.
Hell yeah.
You saw me.
It's boogie nights out here, baby.
It's boogie nights.
Yeah.
It's Friday night fever.
It's happening right now, Friday at the rodeo. You got to go there. It's going to be a great thing. Okay, go to bar in Houston. Or how about this? What's the go-to vibe you're looking for when you're going for a local, watering hole?
I like going to any Woodrow's establishment. I've had a lot of positive experiences, and at the end of the day, it's I like social interaction more than I like, the club atmosphere. I've been to a lot of clubs in my life. Not really my thing. I like talking.
Oh, wait, you don't like being packed in a black box with a bunch of people like sardines and spending thousands of dollars for bottles and to try to flaunt your success and wealth to other people that won't remember the night?
It's a bunch of fakers who go to clubs.
Damn.
They're not really in their bag.
I do have to shout out for Clay Group. I think out of all the club establishments, I think they do a pretty good job in terms of clubs, with safety and that sort of thing. But that's kind of neither here nor there.
That was my problem with places like Spire.
Ooh, don't even bring up Spire. If you're not from Houston, you don't know Spire.
It's a
Consider
shithole.
yourself lucky. You know,
Consider yourself fortunate if you've never been in that place.
forward 90 seconds if you don't want to hear some horror stories. Spire was absolutely terrible. Sorry, I don't want to disparage anything. My personal experience at Spire was unpleasant, and that's just my opinions, and that's it.
It was terrible. Are you kidding me? I've
Yeah.
been there.
I'm not
dude,
trying to get sued though. I don't know if they listen to podcasts.
No, they don't. They can't sue you.
But if they do,
They
catch
cannot.
these hands.
They
Spire.
don't make enough money to sue you.
And trust me, there's probably enough truth about Spire that would take him down.
Oh no, I got charged $11 for a bottle of Corona. It took 8 minutes to get it, and the woman got mad that I didn't tip. I literally could have lost 2 pounds doing cardio in the amount of time that it took to get my drink.
Okay, so don't be Spire. Let's liven up. What's your favorite movie, Versace?
Favorite of all time or recently?
All
time, man.
What's the first one that came to your mind?
Sicario.
Sicario.
Benny
you
del
were telling me
Toro.
about that
It's a Tarantino film. I love it, man. It's good. It's gritty. It's a movie about vengeance, and I appreciate it. It's a good movie. If you have not seen Sicario, it is a great film. It's got Josh Brolin and
Brolin's a good one. Shout out Thanos.
yeah. There's There's so many Kates who are in the movie game. Is it? Hold on. No. I'm gonna look it up. Hold on. It's if her name isn't Kate, I'll feel like such a dumbass. But hold on. She is. If you want to talk about a woman lead who never won an award for this movie,
The biggest snub of all time.
Oh, it's Emily. I was wrong. It's Emily Blunt. But the fact that she did not win an award for this movie is criminal. She was so good. We've got Benicio del Toro, Emily Blunt, Josh Brolin, Jeffrey Donovan, John Bernthal.
I'm not familiar with John.
Walking Dead, The Punisher, Venom.
Oh, okay.
That guy. Like,
He was good. I think he's talented. He was also he did voice acting for Call of Duty Exo-Zombies.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. If anybody likes Call of Duty out there.
We've got Danny Trujillo's son, Raul, and then also, you know the black guy from Star Wars?
John Boyega.
Yeah. He's
in it?
He's one of his closest friends, Daniel Kaluuya. He's really good. He plays Emily Blunt's assistant FBI detective in that movie.
There's FBI involved.
No, dude, I'm telling you, if you haven't seen it, you got to go watch it.
Well, it's certainly on the list, Versace. And then I got to finish with a final one. What's your favorite food establishment?
Food establishment?
Food establishment, yeah. Who you got to show some love to? Who makes the best grub? Who keeps the belly happy? I mean, how do you feed the beast? You're clocking in at what nowadays?
I'm 230.
230, man. That takes a lot of calories. At the end of the day, it is a mathematical equation to gain weight. More calories in versus out, you'll gain weight. So what keeps the beast fed?
I don't eat it very much anymore because I'm trying to be a clean 220, 210. If I had to shout out any food establishment in the Houston area, I would tell anybody, shout out to my Sugarland Fort Bend people, Tornado Burger on FM 1092. It is a Houston legend, all right?
If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know.
Shout out to the 281, am I right?
I'll tell you, if you want to go to a place, if you want to go to an establishment, not a place, this is an establishment that has good food. There are messages on the wall from people from all over the United States. It's like their thing. They put people's messages on the wall of how good their food is. They do wings, they do Philly cheesesteaks, chicken tenders, chicken Phillies, margaritas to go. But the best thing they have, take it from a big boy, they have what is called a spicy burger. They mix garlic, jalapenos, and grilled onions in their meat. In the patty. Straight in it. I have never met a human being who I've put on that restaurant who told me it was not the best cheeseburger they've ever had. And if you're an awards type of guy, I'm not big on awards. I'm like a subjective when it comes to food.
You got your own opinions.
I got my own opinions, exactly. I'm very subjective. This place has won Best Burger in Houston like 10 times.
Damn, how have I never heard about it?
I'll pick you up. I'll pick you up tomorrow morning. We'll go. I'll have my cheat meal tomorrow instead of Sunday if you want to go. I'm serious. It's so good.
Okay, because I was like, damn, I'm hungry right now. Like, I know you got plans afterwards, but I would imagine if we continued the podcast at it. Like, it just
Tornado
cuts
Burger.
to, there's like a line cook chopping it up
They
in
would
the
let us.
background,
Dude, they're
and
so
you just
cool.
pull up, you're like, we got the burger
They're
now.
so cool, man.
Dude, we could turn this into an ASMR channel.
No, we could turn this into, that's what I'm saying. We could have like a weekly, if we did a podcast, 3-hour podcast once every Friday, we could have like a different 30-minute segment
About food
or a movie or a TV show where we go in depth and we're like, we give an official rating.
Mm-hmm. I would love to do that. We could be a rating show. I believe Yelp is one of the greatest inventions of mankind.
Did you know I'm an avid Yelper?
You're an avid Yelper? I'm trying to get my game up. Pull up your stats right now. Show it to the camera.
Hold on.
No, pull up your stats. Your main account. I want to know how many reviews you've posted. I believe Yelp is one of the most.
I do it on the computer. Hold on.
No, I'm sure it's to the same. But Yelp is super helpful. I love it. It's very honest. I rarely get Yelp reviews that I don't think are worthwhile.
I do not have Yelp on my phone currently. I don't.
The man's protected from the truth for right now.
Yeah,
I'm
protected.
At Lifelong Learners, we are getting down to the truth, and I will have his Yelp account for the next podcast that he's on, and
I promise.
That's my honest truth. Grayson, it's been a little over 2 hours. I know you got places to be. It's been absolutely phenomenal having an old friend on the podcast, chopping it up like good old times, but also sharing about the journey and like what you've been through, what you've learned, because a lot of people, me especially, have things to relate to, and it's really great to hear that, get that positive affirmation. I do feel elated from it, and it's lovely having you on the show.
I cannot express to you how much fun this has been, and I love speaking to other people and having real conversations, regardless if it's in front of a camera in the middle of nowhere, wherever it is. I would love to do this again, and I appreciate you inviting me to come do this. Jordan Orsak has a lovely home. He has a very lovely dog, a lovely family, and I'm very excited to see where his channel can go from here, because if there's anybody out there who deserves to have a podcast that makes it, it's this guy. And I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that to your face. This is a good human being right here. And if he doesn't have your respect, you can take it from me. He's somebody that you should love and you should appreciate, because he's a good dude.
Versace Gray, thank you so much.
Thank you.